episode of Roll for Story, the Claude Coast arc. And last session, these guys finally entered into the dry oasis after a few hours spent on the boat, on the airship rather, trying to identify the skull that was left in the resting place of Raheem. It does indeed appear to be Raheem's skull, except that the spell Speak with Dead does not seem to work with it. There we go. When they entered into the city, it was not as noisy or as cheerful as it normally was. The once busy streets and markets were instead kind of emptied of their patrons, and instead just a kind of distant, quiet, and unnerved people. There is indeed a curfew as well, which um, seems to be coming on at night. People aren't allowed out of the city or travel, and that is apparently due to the strange shadows in the desert that have apparently been kidnapping travelers. Seems the guards don't trust the citizens, and the citizens don't trust the guards. There's just all around unrest, uneasiness, rather. And each of you went about trying to investigate this and asked a number of different vendors about the ongoings here. um, the woodcarver seems to have given up on his work. It seems his work has just suddenly become shoddy, at least recently, perhaps. And his wife was very suspicious, hiding behind a door. Apparently, has a snake bite, which she's recovering from. You spoke to a strange fennec fox-like humanoid called Vara, who said that she's new here and she doesn't get why everyone's so shady. And he spoke to Jamal, who was the potter, and he was friendly but kind of guarded at the same time. And then you finally spoke to Nora as well, who was the uh, textiles vendor. They said that there was something going on, that the inn next to her, the family went away for like a 10-day. They just up and left, didn't tell anyone, and then they returned and reopened their inn. It is called the Acacia Shade, and well, now she's unsure what's going on with them. They used to be kind of friendly and welcoming before, but now they're keeping to themselves, and she hasn't even heard from them. She does still see a couple of patrons go in and out, but she said that she'd keep an eye out and tell you what, if anything, she saw. Then you finally made your way around to this woman with the wicker baskets, who's clearing away, well, trying to clear a path for you, because she seems to like set up the um, right outside Malone's wizard tower. Also, you met Harthier on the way, who seems to be a fire genasi who knows Smolder, and you haven't really spoke to him much, partly because he was coming towards the end of the session, but he says he kind of spoke in vague like riddles almost about this place in this town, seemingly knowing that something is up, but and also recognizing perhaps Andy, but not really letting on. He kind of didn't see fully past the disguise, but knows that Andy is hiding something. And yeah, anyway, he's come along for the ride for the time being. Um, that leaves us in Malone's tower. So you guys have entered. Irina has made their way to the top, where you saw a flurry of letters fly across the room. and one of them is indeed addressed to you, Irina. We haven't looked at all of them yet, but one of them is open. You're beginning to read it. The others are
And
sort
like
of lounging around
9
on
years
cushions.
worth of mail just.
My brain is just thinking of the first Harry Potter movie when you've got all the letters flying around in the front room.
Yeah.
Don't pick up one of the ones off the floor. Let's try and crystal maze grab them out of the air.
Not Quincy, Sorrow's main friends.
There is indeed a magical quill. It is of an exotic bird. It seems to be colored, almost like a parrot. These oranges, reds, yellows, blues. Kind of got a whole mix of colors. And it was able to mimic.
Stuff.
Yes, it was able to mimic the handwriting of Sorrow to a T. Crossing the T's, in fact.
Always good to cross the T's and dot the I's.
And the lowercase J's.
Yes.
So, now, what do you guys wish to do? What should we start with?
Oh.
Was there anything of interest to identify in the place?
You could have identified the strange backgammon-like board.
Probably, and anything else that seemed.
And I think you said the
magical.
bow was also magical.
There was a magic bow as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would have identified that as well, and whatever else was in there.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, you know what I love Ellen.
Right. So the bow is a magical +1 bow. Nothing extra special about it, but there isn't any arrows around, which is a little bit odd to keep a bow but no arrows.
I give the string a twang or a pullback.
Yep, it's functional.
That doesn't form its own arrows. I think
That's what I was wondering. Maybe it formed its own arrows.
Nope.
Right, so
What sort of genasi was Smolder?
fire.
I wonder if Smolder like formed.
Did you not get that from Smolder?
No, yeah. I'm just thinking maybe Smolder like is able to form her own like fire arrows on the boat.
I mean, we don't know that the bow was Smolder's. It could also have been Malone's, though, based on... Actually, had Carius met Malone? Because obviously he'd met you previously. I don't know if he'd have met Malone. Irina?
No, I don't think you did. I think at that point you kind of like your family kind of just transported me to the Claude Coast, and then I went on my own.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As much as what you just said could make sense, I much prefer the idea that Smolder creates flaming arrows that she shoots out of the bow.
I mean, there is a spell for that. Well, there's a spell to make arrows into fire arrows, anyway. But
I mean, what exactly did Malone use if he needed to fight? Was he
magic.
A spellcaster? Was he... okay.
That would be my guess.
G. Quite a powerful.
Oh, sorry, she. My...
Yeah, she was a mage.
I just sort of assume anyone who works at the library had magic at this point.
Yeah.
Not all of us, but most.
Sorry, repeat that again. No.
If she was an apprentice of my father, then yes, very likely to be a magic.
No, she was Terig's apprentice.
That too. That's that.
Yeah. Either way, they were apprentices.
Yes.
I like the fact that none of you have figured that it could be mine.
Nah.
Eldritch Blast, you know.
No.
I mean, would you need it? I mean, you've got the whole Eldritch sniping thing going on. You don't need any.
Yeah, training tool.
I I pick up the
How do you
bow.
think I learned to get that good aim?
I pick up the bow and
Practice.
chuck it at Irina. Just like, go on then, show us what you got.
I will take the bow,
Yeah.
line it up, and I'm gonna release an Eldritch Blast across the room,
So,
using the bow as momentum.
Are you
So-
actually trained in using bows?
as
I can check.
I'm pretty
Yeah, I
sure.
would check them.
Though I'm wondering if, as Candlewick can obviously form into a sword, you think he could also form into like arrows, like smoke arrows? That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool.
I actually forget
Um,
what type of warlock you are, but if you're the type of warlock I think you are, then yes, you are, because I think you're proficient in all weapons.
Hexblade.
Yeah, I think they get proficiency in everything. I'm not 100% on that.
I'm just checking my thing.
Whilst we're waiting on that,
because obviously I can have a certain feature that I need to check because I have. Not that one. Nope.
so it was Harthia, right? If I'm pronouncing that right.
Huh? Harthir, yes.
Yeah.
I'll reveal their name on the.
Yeah. I was just checking
Okay.
I was getting the pronunciation right. It wasn't like Herthia or something.
He's half ear, half face.
So simple weapons and martial weapons.
So yeah, you can use a bow. You're proficient.
Okay.
I think the
Yeah,
only things
and
you wouldn't
also-
would be like double-bladed scimitars and stuff, the exotic weapon.
Also, give me a history check as well, Irina. Nice.
Okay.
There you go.
Could actually be that other apprentice's bow, you know, the one who I can't remember the name of.
All I'm saying is that the best way to learn how to shoot things is to shoot things, and using the bow as an aid
I
is just
mean,
a really good way to enhance your target.
It's a novel way of doing it. I mean, I got struck by lightning and learned how to do stuff, so who am I to talk?
Yeah, I mean, you watch. Irina does seem to definitely pull back the string, and the Eldritch Blast fires far across the room into the wall. The smoke doesn't leave an impact or anything, but it does kind of disperse.
It's more sort of flare than actual damage.
So, is this your bow then?
Yes.
Ah, well.
Inside
Okay.
check.
It's Malone's bow, but it was mine for practice purposes.
I was thinking, what was the name of the other one? There was you, and then there was the other person, right? There was you, Malone, and I can't remember the third person you met.
There's me, Malone, Mulder, and Zeno.
Zeno, that was the one. I couldn't.
Zeno?
Yeah.
Who's Zeno?
Zeno didn't use a bow.
Ah,
Not
fair
that type of bow.
Oh, more like a crossbow or a bow staff or
Like
Or
a
a-
bow staff.
or a boat.
Did he use a bow staff? I can't remember. He did, yeah.
He used a rain stick, but yeah,
But yeah, same thing.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's a
So
Well, the other things, that weird tic-tac-toe board.
I'm pretty sure that's backgammon. I've never learned how to play it.
Chinese checkers.
Mum knew how to play it.
I
She
just
loved it.
make a face at the board and leave the room. That's when I go to check my mail.
It's snakes and ladders.
Okay, well, you have a look at it. It's very much a similar case of it's a. You know what? Actually,
Is it one of those where if you touch it you get trapped in it sort of thing? Like the
oh yeah. If you identify it, then yes,
yeah.
you
so-
find yourself effectively, like, effectively sucked in to the board, where you can play a simple game of.
I'm not gonna be touching it. I'm just identifying it.
From a
Casting
distance.
magic on it.
Maybe that's the trap. Maybe it's trapped, so if you try to identify it, it traps you in, and maybe that's its entire purpose.
Do it.
Effectively.
But I will.
But the first level of the board is just that. It isn't showing you the full board.
But I will.
So there's multiple levels. Cool.
Bring Carius and Kashan over to it.
Get off it.
I told you I've got no interest in the game. It was my mum's specialty. One of my sisters was pretty good at it.
Well, show Kashan how to play it.
I don't remember how to
playing
play
with
it.
the mandolin.
I've got better things to do. I've got someone that half ear. Fear.
Yes.
Right. Obviously, you have an idea of what's going on in this town. Explain.
Well, he sits down on the opposite side of the board. Are you sitting down as well, Llewellyn, at the other side?
He's gonna want us to play backgammon for it.
I'm
I don't even know how to play backgammon.
distance away.
Okay.
But I am listening to this conversation from a distance.
Do I have to play for answers? Is that the way this is going?
No, I do not know how to play this game, but simply admiring the pieces.
They are quite well made.
Touch it.
Don't touch it.
Touch it.
We weren't told to touch
stuck
nothing
in
but
there
the
a
cushions.
week last time.
Touch it.
Just because you said touch it multiple times, I am not going to touch.
Yay,
Okay.
finally, someone who has sense.
Throw a game piece at him, Llewellyn.
As Llewellyn is standing nearby, can I try to trip him up with my tail and make him fall onto the board?
I'm not nearby. I'm a.
Guys, please, we want to talk to him. Don't trap him in a magical
No,
game.
I was going to trap Llewellyn in so that we don't have to listen to him talk.
No, this sort of game sucks everyone in from a radius.
You don't know
It's
that.
a two-player game, you know, Llewellyn.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to. But then again, so's chess, and that sucked an entire group in. So.
That's true.
But then again, backgammon checkers only have like one type of piece, so.
Only one way to find out. Touch it.
No.
Chris, can I find out if I'm playing the mandolin well?
Okay, yeah, roll. You can roll a performance check in the background while you're listening to this. Arthur says, yes, and it is with that sense that I have managed to. And he's trying to talk, but he seems to be like hearing this weird plucking noise in the background. Not able to play much of a song. Sort of, it seems very out of tune as well. Maybe it's not your fault, but yeah, not the worst. It's not the worst plucking. Sounds like you are tuning it.
Maybe
But,
Andy can teach you. I don't know if they play the mandolin.
Tuning a mandolin is actually very hard because there's 8 strings and you have to tune them in pairs.
But it's the same strings as a violin.
That's true.
Can I give it a go?
Yes, you can give it a go if he hands it to you.
My man.
It's something I heard someone say once, is that the mandolin is the idiot's violin.
Oh.
Yes!
I was deeply offended.
Right.
Hey, you tuned it for me.
Whilst those two are arguing over musical instruments, whilst there's a perfectly good bard in the room, I'm gonna speak
I wasn't
to you.
even trying.
I know.
I am 3/4 of a bard, I'll have you know. I'm a wizard.
Shut up.
Can I just go home then? You obviously don't need me.
No, you play a song.
Mm-mm. Not now. No.
You've offended them now. You've offended. God, what A-list did we go for?
Kashan's just going to be perched on the little pillows.
Akir was the surname we
sill.
went for, right?
I
Matkin, that was it.
prefer the Yeah, I prefer the bagpipes anyway, and I'll just
Nobody else does.
hand it towards Mackin.
Yeah. All right.
What? I was playing that.
No, you weren't.
Yes, he was.
It-
To him.
to be fair, for someone who I've never seen even touch a musical instrument, it was a pretty good first try.
It was.
Well,
And it's
natural-
still better than Llewellyn on the bagpipes.
natural plectrum.
That's very true. That would make it much easier for you to play at.
Would.
I'd actually never considered that.
I like to see people draw the
'Cause
nails
that's
out
a
like that.
that's a mandolin pick, and they're very sturdy. They're very hard to bend.
I was gonna say, if you snap that now, I
I hope not. I paid money for that.
It's like, look how strong it is.
Right, so Arthur, obviously something weird's going on in town. I mean, I've only been here maybe once, twice before, and this I feel like I've gone to a completely different town. And I realize I've just come out of some weird shadowy place, but I'm still pretty sure that this should be the place I'm meant to be, and it's not.
Speaking of which, Andy, what exactly is your thoughts here? Kashan says, still plucking at this instrument.
Who's Andy?
Like,
Yeah, who's Andy? We let
Mackin.
Mackin.
He's disguised. Sorry, he's
Ah.
disguised. I'm
Oh,
not
sorry,
here.
Markin.
I think. I mean, you guys have just basically given the game away.
I mean, I
You kind
hadn't.
of figured out anyway.
I
Mackin
hadn't.
Roni.
I mean,
Arthur kind of looks over
Okay,
to
do
you.
you know who
Sorry.
I am?
Sorry, I forgot about the name. Sorry, Mac, you've been here for a while.
Right. Too late.
Yes. Yes, Mackin, you do look like a native here.
I
A
am
local.
native. I am local. Well, at least I was raised local. What? Take a
I
guess.
thought
Take a
as
guess.
much. Let's see here. Yeah, okay.
and I thought
Cool.
my disguise was really good as well, and yeah, he seems to have seen right through it.
Yep. He says, Andy, your name is Andy then, the real name.
Not my nickname, but yes.
Hmm.
Yes,
He
it's a
goes,
weird derogative of Matkin. You have to like have been with us for a while to have got how you get to Andy from Matkin, but it's definitely there. Karen's trying to recover the disguise.
It's a pretty simple explanation, and she gets out. Which one was it?
I think it was your short
Mackin's
sword,
the
wasn't
short-
it?
Yeah, the short sword. She'll get out her short sword. That's Mackin.
name your weapons. Well, he turns to his own sword, says, this is Desert Wind.
Ooh, very nice.
That
What?
would make a terrible try to disguise yourself.
Wait, actually, it might work if you were hanging around with Tabaxi culture. I mean, they often have names like Swiftfoot and stuff. So
I was going to say, I actually knew somebody called Desert Wind. Kind of ironic, that actually.
but
That is interesting. But you're afraid the guards will see you, hmm? Recognize you.
Well, we. I mean, you say you knew Smolder, right?
He nods and then says, the problem with disguising yourself from the enemies is Your allies may not recognize you either.
Right? Okay.
Smolder did talk about you.
She... When was
Now
the
that
last time you saw her?
He thinks for a moment and looks around the room. I guess because Irina, you're down here again. His
No,
eyes kind of
I went upstairs.
went back upstairs. Okay, let me just check then. He seems to look up towards where the stairs were, where Irina just went, and then he looks back to you and says, "Must have been over a decade now." Do not know what has happened to her.
Not at all.
No. She said that she was working for someone important.
She had a job to do, which actually involved Irina. They were traveling together. But before that, she was helping myself and my father.
I see.
And of course, it was on this job that she ended up missing, I guess you could.
Missing?
Yeah, I think from what Irina said, she went into the capital and never came out.
The capital?
Mm-hmm.
No one returns from the capital.
Yeah, it seems that she might still be stuck.
My niece could be dead for all I know.
Your niece?
Oh.
You're her uncle?
He nods.
Wow!
Hey,
Can I call you Uncle Half?
Can I call you Uncle Half?
I guess you can, yes.
wait,
Oh.
if you refer to her as Aunt Smolder, what's the uncle of an aunt
Auntie
called?
Small.
It's great uncle.
Great uncle.
Great Uncle Arthur.
Great Uncle Half.
Great Uncle Arthur.
I'm not that old.
Uncle
He says
Arthur.
that, but he's
I
clearly
know
got
I'm
like
having
grays.
horses flashback.
So,
He's
For-
clearly
for
not
the-
like that old. He's clearly like still a fit, like warrior or soldier or whatever.
Okay.
But he's definitely got some graying on his hair and his beard.
For the record, just so you know, she was very, very important to my father and me. She was basically the closest thing I had to a mother. And she helped teach me a lot. So I owe her a lot. I love her. She's part of my family. So I
Family
would
is
do
very
anything
important.
to try and help her.
Yes. Well, all the more reason we should stick together.
Hmm.
This place. Well, I cannot even describe to you the danger that threatens Orlane. I mean, the dry oasis. I do know that unless somehow we stop the evil that has taken this little village, then its families will also vanish without trace into the desert, into the sands. Sinister forces at work here, and is more frightening by the fact that its true nature is concealed by fear, suspicion. I do not know how deep this pit goes.
So,
It-
do you know what we're up against? Super Beholder, Kraken, weird
I
curse.
know only the rumors that you've probably heard. Shadows in the desert have been kidnapping those who travel at night. sound of hooves apparently accompanied them.
She looks down at her shadow and she goes and says, "Have you guys been kidnapping people?"
The shadow looks up at you. Frogs.
Yeah.
Wait, you said hooves. How
Mm-hmm.
how recent was the last kidnapping? Because we dealt with someone who was on a horse not long ago.
Well, we
You
don't
did?
think it was that long ago anyway. We did go to a weird place where time seemed to be backwards.
And the ruins aren't that far away from the dry oasis.
Hmm.
You know, flaming horse, mummy on top, hooves.
I
When was the
don't
most
know what.
when was the most recent kidnapping?
Most recent one, I guess, could have been at least several weeks ago.
Hmm.
It's not happened recently, but everyone is on edge and has been since. The curfew has perhaps stopped the more recent disappearances.
By kidnappings, you mean like they've actually disappeared and not come back? Because we heard about well, I heard some people at the Acacia Shade disappeared for a 10-day and then came back, but they were different.
The ones who have been kidnapped, he shakes his head. They did not come back.
Which, and then there's that woman's strange behavior in near the carpenter, like she was afraid of something. And it's almost like there's two things at play here. There's some, or perhaps the people it's taking are specific people, and those it doesn't want it returned subtly changed.
We know how long ago this started. Did anyone ask that last week? Because of course I ducked
No.
out early.
No, that's a good one though.
Okay. He says the first kidnapping, we're not sure if it was one of the actual shadows or if it was perhaps something unrelated, but I'm sure the guards would know. They would have records. My guess, though, is at least a few months ago.
Okay, so quite recent.
So, yeah. As difficult a question as it is, Andy, the incident with your father, that was a few years ago. Right?
Sorry?
The incident with your father, that was a few years ago, right?
Yeah, quite a few years ago. She was kind of like in her mid-teens.
Because, speaking of the guards, there was one other strange thing I found out, that despite the amount of time that's passed, your father was the last execution that's happened here afterwards. They seem to have changed the rules. And that seems odd, without, like, particularly as the people in charge here haven't changed.
Some instead the take the execution.
Yeah.
And I mean, the entire circumstances around his execution were very strange. It was very sudden, no trial. He was just kind of taken and dragged up and killed. But yeah, that's very strange if that was the very last one. That
Yes.
none more happened after. And it's been a few years now. Hard to think that they suddenly had a change of conscience and decided the death penalty was not good.
Who exactly was it who took your father away?
I can't really say. It was a couple of foot soldiers just dragged him off one day in the middle of one of our performances.
The last kidnapping that happened, do you happen to know who was kidnapped for that?
Let's see. I think it was one of the farmers, perhaps. I know that the guards would have more information.
Yes, but the guards seem as suspicious as anyone else. Do you know anyone friendly in the guards, I suppose is the best word?
Me? No. No.
Oh.
You can roll an. Everyone can roll an insight check here as well. At this point.
I'm not here.
Nope.
Pretty.
Velen is though.
All fairly low, except Lavellen, who, like you said, you've been observing from a distance this conversation. You do notice he seems to be like looking. He's quite focused on the speaker, whoever like seems to be talking. He does seem to turn to and like not stares them down or anything, but he does seem to be intently listening whenever someone speaks. That's what you pick up on a 17. But when he mentions the guards and he like shakes his head, no, 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 no. Yeah, you get the feeling like he might have had maybe a run-in with the guards at one point or two. He definitely isn't in hiding like as bad as Andy, but doesn't sound like he's on completely
Okay.
good terms with him.
Perhaps a better question then. Do you know anyone in the guards who seems particularly corrupt?
Oh, Rob.
As in, they might accept some bribes here and there to let things go through, things like that.
I like your thinking. I'm sure we could find one. Doesn't take me a while to spot a shady individual.
Yeah,
And he looks back over towards Andy.
She saw straight through Andy. And I'm honestly quite impressed. I put a lot of effort into the disguise. What gave it away? Or do you have some supernatural power?
I feel like it's a bit offended
You,
you're calling me shady.
Llewellyn, you notice he can't help but he can't hide the smile when Carrier says supernatural power. He looks, however, to you, Carrius, and just says, "I just have a knack. A bunch of adventurers rolling in, weapons. That's a big giveaway. First of all, you're not just any street merchants or travelers. That's for sure.
Well,
And adventurers always have a path."
yeah, there's not many merchant groups who have taken down 4 blue dragons. Gareth just sort of drops that
Hosting.
conversation.
Trying to show off in front of him.
I mean, a little.
So we could ask the guards for more information about the disappearances, or we could talk to the actual villagers more.
Out of curiosity, do you know who is in charge of the guards around here these days?
Yes, I do. In fact, let's see. I did have my notes for him.
From my understanding, it's the same person who was in charge when you were around here, Andy.
Just curious reason.
That's. I guess that'd be right.
Well,
yeah, let's just find it.
That was one of the things that Carius asked, because a change in rules caused by a change in leadership would make sense.
That's
but
right.
A change in rules just for no apparent reason made no sense.
Yes, there wasn't a change in rule, was there?
Mm.
I told you. So, no. You can rule that out as the potential. All right, so the name is. Here we go. Uh, uh, Mansaw, Captain. I'm pretty sure I put this in
Yeah, it
last time,
sounds
didn't I?
familiar. And currently prisoners and stuff are taken to the temple-like building. That's also the prison.
That's right.
Is the temple of particular religious significance, or does it just look like a temple?
There we go. Looks like it doesn't look as what would you say? As elaborate as other temples. You know, temples normally have this kind of cathedral like dominance that's definitely a big attraction in the city. This one looks much more square, and it looks like a keep almost from a distance, but it doesn't look elaborate and incredible architecture. It just sits there, simple. It is larger than the other buildings, but I wouldn't say it towers over them either.
Yeah. But from what Carius knows, and probably from what Andy and Harthir know, having been here longer than Carius has, because he's only been here once or twice, is the keep actually like, whilst it's a prison and a keep, is it actually also a building of religious significance, or is it just building?
No, it is, and in fact, there is one large. Sorry, yeah, there is like one large domed ceiling. It's attached to almost like an outdoor kind of balcony area. You call it. I don't know the exact name for it, but it's like it's got these arches and a domed ceiling above it. So it's kind of like an airy almost.
When
Um,
when people go into the prison, do they come out again, or is it like permanent?
you asking him?
Yeah.
He says the prisoners. I would assume they are eventually let out, not imprisoned for life. But as for what recent prisoners?
Have you seen any get released?
Come to think of it, not recently, no. Perhaps the guards have been questioning them, trying to get to the bottom of this. But not recently, no.
I was wondering if perhaps, and as a horrible a thought as it is, if maybe maybe the executions are still occurring, they're just no longer public.
Oh.
But perhaps
This is a thought. This is mainly Chris. If Captain Mansell was indeed still the captain back in the day, was he actually there during her father's execution? Was he any part of it?
I guess,
Did
yeah,
she see
he would have
him
been.
there? Yeah.
He would have been, yeah. He would have been the one who either ordered the guards and, yeah, he would have told you guys to. Sorry, he would have ordered his guards to take your dad away and then execute Andy's father. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I have a name on the hit list now. Shadow.
Yep. In
We
fact,
know who we're after.
you would have seen him when you came in. In fact, and
was he the
he
one on top of the bridge?
He was, yeah. He was looking down upon you, so you didn't get a good look at him face to face, but you did see him, and I'll put his
He's
artwork in.
around. Cool. Okay.
He's here.
I can.
And
I mean,
yeah.
if you guys need to talk to him or anything like that, that's fine. But I probably will want to kill him.
Well,
that's fine. I can talk to his dead body.
Exactly.
Okay.
So long as we know he's definitely a bad person.
I mean, he ordered the death of my father.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I-
I don't care any more than that.
I think there are two potential avenues for three to some extent of avenue to get more information. The first is going to be the carpenter's wife. It seems like she might know something. We can get to speak to her, we might be able to find out some information, but getting in is not going to be easy.
Mm,
Second is the guards. And third, as strange as it might seem, it might...
Hey,
Huh?
no, sorry, I found him. Found his artwork. That's all.
Ah, I thought you said fairies. I'm like, no, I'm not going to go ask
No.
the fairies. I don't know any.
I mean, I could sneak in to the building if you distract the carpenter.
Yeah, that shouldn't be too difficult.
I'd like to say Kashan would be good at sneaking in, but remember what happened last time?
That's true.
I did beat everyone up.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, we don't. Want
I'm
you,
happy to go in again.
but we don't. But we don't want you to beat this one up. No, we think she might be scared. Probably don't want to put her in further in fear.
Maybe a little bit of it.
I mean, if you want to give her some physical attention, probably not that kind of physical attention.
I am with child.
And Egbert needs a mother, don't they?
But what if they're married?
Well, we don't know that. We don't know that. I'm just saying, Kashan, if you want to be the one to sneak in, try not for violence, but I'm sure your hands might be useful for something in that.
Hold on, wait. Do they train this out of you in the monastery, Chris? Or is it kind of like a anything goes once you're out in the world?
What? No, you're supposed to uphold some semblance of, peace, honor.
Peace and honor, but not purity?
Interesting question.
Man's about to go and get Egbert a mother.
In terms of the monastery, have we ever seen Kashan? Or is it cut?
Kashan, no, Kashan has never done anything like that. They set out for personal enlightenment, I guess.
Right,
That's one kind of alignment.
On
Some sort of enlightenment.
anyway, I mean, they
I'll
do
leave that-
they
I'll
they
leave that
do
up to you
say
to
that
decide
through
that.
certain forms you can find rapture and like see God, I suppose.
My
So
God, here we go. I'll leave that up to you to decide. All right.
But anyway, the third point of call, and bringing up Egbert sort of puts me onto this, is there is also the option of the street children. They tend to keep their ears open for like any tidbits, rumors that they can use, sort of thing. So could be a way to get some information.
But also the
So
street.
far, the first child you saw was carried away by their mother inside. The second child you saw froze in their footsteps and stared at you guys. But Irina sort of coaxed a more friendly manner out of them. They kind of waved. They did hurry on.
But also, if there's street children, they're likely in danger if they're out.
Yeah.
But to be fair, if we can persuade any of those that have been having to live on the streets and outside the walls, maybe we can get information. I have been offering them abode for tonight.
Yes, that is true.
Maybe we can get on their good side. Maybe they'll give us some information of what they may or may not have seen.
What's actually the time of day at the moment? Like, how long do we have before sunset?
Well, let's see here. You arrived,
We arrived fairly early.
yeah, early, and then you parked up. You've still got a good portion of the day. Yeah,
So
probably about lunchtime.
okay, so you've got maybe 6 hours or so,
Yes.
depending on what time of year it is. But Okay, so... And obviously our... Actually, you know what? I'm just going to ask, just in case, because we went into a weird place. What day and what year, and what month and what year it is it? I asked Arthur.
He says the correct day and year, which,
Yeah.
by the way, we do actually have a month.
Yeah, I just can't remember what it is, but
The calendar of Harpdos, and we are currently in. I believe we're in the Claw of Sunsets, which is chess.
yeah. The main reason I was asking is, you know, we went into weird
We're in the
shadow.
Claw of Storms. Sorry, we're in Tarsak.
Yeah.
Tarseek. Sorry, Tarseek.
Main
Claw of
reason I'm
Storm.
asking, we went into some weird place, rescued some spirits. I thought we might have lost some time, and we're kind of on a few deadlines.
Was the Claw of Sunsets? That was during the sun and moon, and then like a month later. You're in the Claw of Storms, Tarseek, and I rolled for it, and turns out like next month is
when the thing will appear.
Exactly, yeah.
We've also got limited time before Andy has to be handed over, or we have to deal with that one way or another. So, right.
During Myrtle.
In terms of speaking to the guards, that might be maybe something I should do. In terms of speaking to the children, Andy, perhaps that's something more you, because it's more secrety and, you know, you're less likely to be spotted.
Because she's the one of us that looks like a child.
I wasn't going to say that, but yes.
No offense.
He looks the youngest.
You are the youngest, yeah.
And then if Kashan and
You're muted, Kirsty.
And then if Kashan and Llewellyn can try to speak to the carpenter's wife, or partner, or whatever position she's in, kidnap, prisoner, who knows, then we're killing 3 birds with 1 stone, essentially. Or 3 stones, but at the same time.
You want us to kill them?
No!
Kid, I know what you mean.
I can do it. I mean...
See, you're actually the most difficult one here, Kashan, because if it was anyone else, I could probably find a way to somehow disarm you. But you're the awkward one. Like, I could take away weapons, I could steal Llewellyn's book.
Try and steal my...
You can't take my hands.
Yeah. I mean, looks at his scythe and his glaives. I mean, I could, but that's a bit mean. I don't have a way to give them back.
You have to catch them first.
I mean, yeah. Right,
So what's the plan?
Well,
what are we doing?
So, what I might do is...
Maybe we should get Irina down here if we're gonna do plan making.
Yes. That
She's
is a good
not
idea.
down here?
No, they went upstairs. I think they've got mail.
Yeah, let's go to Irina's. You can think of where to go next, but in the meantime, Irina, you've got a letter addressed to you. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, so where to start with? You've opened it up, and the first thing you immediately notice is the letter is torn. It's ripped in half, which is very odd, but nonetheless, it seems
it's in
to
2
be.
pieces, or literally I've only got half of a letter.
You've only got half of a letter, and you just unfurl it, and it's just got this tear, like one half. Where is some paper? I mean, you know what a piece of paper looks like. But...
Yes, Chris. What does a torn piece of paper look like?
Yeah,
Rip one for us. We don't know.
Sure.
As long as it's
Well,
not
this
out of
will
an
help.
actual book, otherwise I think multiple people here might beat you.
It will help demonstrate at the very least. Yeah, it's like a torn piece of paper like this, halfway down. And it is addressed to you. It says, "Dear Irina." It says,
Dearest love.
at least I hope that's your name. I'm having some trouble remembering, but it's perhaps the only name I do remember clearly. My apprentice. Yes? Like question mark? It says, I've wrote this letter addressed to my own home. Feels strange sending a letter back to my home, myself. But this letter is in fact for you, should you ever return to it and find it. My name is Malone. I am. There's like seemingly like a dot dot dot. Your teacher, your mentor. I left on a mission to uncover the strange magical phenomena surrounding the shattered city. I remember entering, and no, sorry, I remember you entering. Yes, but I had to find out what this thing was, for fear that you may never return. First port of call was strangely to return to my master, see if he knew anything of this dilation, this disruption, and, well, more on that later. But the first thing I need to do is recover something. My memories. When I first met you, we were, and then it's torn, like where it actually says we were, and then because it's torn at like an angle, it says like we were, and then the next line reads, but it's torn off there as well, and it says, um, in the library section detailing tomes on, and then it's dotted. Wait, it's torn. Sorry, and then the next line reads, uh, "You were always curious in," and then it's torn again, and it says, it gets more and more like harder to read because you're only getting like half a line, then half like a word, and then like not even a maybe even a letter, and it gets harder and harder as it goes down, and it says something like not exist in your world because, and then it says something like at, and then remem, and then it's gone completely, like it's just torn. You've got like pieces of it. Sorry, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions
I
about
want
it? Or
to get a fresh sheet of paper.
yeah,
And I think okay, first thing we're gonna do as a scribe, I want to just check the letter is genuine. Malone definitely wrote this.
yeah.
And then I want to check the actual hair itself. So I'm going to take the piece of paper that I've just picked up, the fresh one, and I'm going to tear it in an identical fashion.
So
Like
you
I'm
want to
doing
tear up
it.
your own letter?
I'm not writing a letter. I'm getting a
Okay.
blank sheet of paper, and I am literally, I'm tearing it in a similar place.
Yeah.
But I am deliberately tearing it in the same direction.
Okay.
I basically want to check if this letter has been deliberately torn in this way to censor that information.
Roll an investigation check for me, please.
Investigation. 29.
Wow. Okay. It is definitely Malone's handwriting, without a doubt. It is her penmanship, but she seems like she doesn't remember things, and that's concerning. And it's, she does remember things, like you going into the Shattered City, but she's unsure. She's very unsure on what's real and what's not, which isn't normally her style. She's normally very headstrong. She usually keeps a lot to herself. But now she's almost asking you. You can tell that she seems to be trying to get reassurance, or it feels like just almost like a cry for help in a weird way, like help me remember. Um, so it's not her usual self that you're used to reading, or at least understanding. And you have read letters from her in the past. In fact, as you begin to think, you do remember sending letters back and forth, because she was assigned off to the Claude Coast at one point. You weren't immediately sent off with her. You had to travel from this from the city to her, I think. So there was a long period of time when she was apart from you. Probably when you finished um, your induction, I guess, to the actual Grand Library, and then you were given like proper stay there and such. But anyway, the what was your other question? Is it torn deliberately? Okay,
Yeah.
with a 29, 29, yeah, you're 100% certain this was not deliberate. It looks as though something has grabbed a hold of it, like almost like mid-flight, and it's got caught on something and torn up, which doesn't make sense because it was inside a perfectly square envelope.
So potentially
And
someone has repackaged this letter.
potentially, or something else. And I'm going to say, because it's so close to like a 30, which is insane, I'll say that you also have around the table plenty of different objects for inspecting things, inkwells, magnifying glasses, and as you pick up, like, say, a magnifying glass and actually really have a closer look at the tear, it doesn't look like it's been torn like normal paper, where you can see like there's almost like a second layer to it. It looks far more jagged, and as you inspect it even closer still, just like right up against it, the jaggedness of it reminds you of broken glass almost. Whereas a normal piece of paper is kind of there's bits of what's it called? Texture to it. What's it called? Thread, fabric.
Okay.
But here it looks like it's been almost cut in that way. But it's not actually cut, it's like shattered.
I'm wondering if I can try a thing. I'm going to grab
Yep.
another sheet of paper.
Hmm.
And I want to find the mimicking quill.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I'm going
you find
to
it.
set down both pieces of paper. And I know that obviously Malone has used this quill quite a lot, so may have an insight into what she may have written. Almost like predictive text.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get it to attempt to copy the letter completely. Like predictive text.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's probably been used to write numerous letters to me in the past. So I'm just gonna attempt this.
Mm. As it's filling in the bit where it's torn, you begin to realize something as well, because it's filling out all the details of them explaining where they've been, what they're about to do, or whatever. The parts that are torn is when you start to realize they're all parts which are tied to you. And as its predictive text comes in, Tyrister anyway, it definitely doesn't have that ability. But as it's
It was an
filling,
attempt.
I'll tell you what though, I'll say this. As you're writing it, as it's writing it in, it does attempt to, like you were saying, it attempts to. When it reads the part where it says, for example, we was in the library in the section on tomes on, and then it goes bullywugs, because the first letter might have been something like it looked like a B perhaps, and it says bullywugs, and then you're like, wait, no, that's not right,
That's
and
definitely not right. I know what it is.
and it immediately comes to mind, and you almost feel the instinct to grab the quill, cross it out, and write the exactly what it was, because you were there. You remember meeting her in the library, and it was in that section. What section was it, Steph?
Looking for Evermore.
There you go. And you cross it out and you write Evermore. And as soon as you do that, you suddenly hear this kind of glass sort of sound, like cracking. And you look back and you suddenly see the letter has suddenly repaired itself. And there's a section where it literally says Evermore.
Got to
Okay.
remember.
Okay. Okay. So she's literally like, you've got to help me remember. So I've literally got to remember in order to complete this letter. Oh no. Okay. What's the next part of the letter?
The next part
I can't even
was
remember that.
it was something about you was always curious in
I mean, if we're talking Evermore, I was always curious about finding the hedge and the way to get through and whether it existed or if I was crazy. So the hedge?
sure. The hedge fills in on the letter, and you can see it like almost coming together, like little shards of glass seem to suddenly appear and like fit in like a piece of a puzzle onto the actual page. But it is definitely paper, and even though it's saying it sounds like glass, you pick it up and feel it. It's definitely paper, parchment.
Interesting.
And what was the other part? It continues like this, by the way, for a while as you're filling in just little details about everything. And let's just see. You know, give me a history check, I guess. Seeing just how well you remember all the little details.
Teen. I remember none of my life.
What'd you get? 14. Oh, okay. So it's you're having trouble remembering every little detail that you shared with them, but you begin to think that perhaps perhaps if you wrote your own letter, it might help.
Okay. I will get out my scribe kit rather than using the mimic pen, and I'll handwrite it myself. Um, I don't know. Dear Malone. Yes, my name is Irina, though you may remember me by another name. Which is okay. But I'm glad that you remembered to use Irina. I managed to escape the capital with Zeno's help. You guys. I'll basically do a brief explanation of what happened and the fact that I went to the mountain in Weep and discovered the robes. And then obviously I have met with Terrig, but it was the wrong timeline of Terrig. And then obviously I'm currently here, so if she gets this message to direct her mail to me here. And then I'll sort of fill in the blanks, kind of being like, yes, I remember meeting you in the library. I remember coming to meet you back in the Claude Coast when Sarcadius sent me to come get you. I remember you scolding me for getting drunk and dancing on tables with S'more, and the boat trip where like you were seasick, and all these little things about her life, like that I experienced as her as my mentor, like despite being like this crabby old elf lady, she had a lot of spirit and things like that, and she seemed most herself when traveling.
Okay. How do you end the letter?
How do I end the letter?
Yeah.
Sincere BFF.
Not
That's
just
not what you.
not just at the very bottom. I mean, like, is there a instruction that you want to give, or a question that you have?
Obviously, I put obviously that any communication she should send here to the tower, and then I will ask her what year she is in and what month she is in.
Okay.
And
Got it.
if she can give me a location.
Got it.
Great.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Location. All right.
And then I'm suddenly like, I don't know where I'm sending this to.
And then you're like, huh, yeah, that's the part
What's
where
the address?
you finish and you're like, how do I even get this letter to them?
Is there a return address on the envelope?
I'm wondering if I can literally put it back in the book that all the mail came out of and just close it and hope that it gets delivered. Is it like an address book? Have I got to find the right?
It's like a binder, and previously all these letters were flown out, and you haven't got round to reading all those yet. They're still kind of like fluttered and left on the ground. Looking over them, they almost look like pieces of a shattered whole, if you will. And as you put the letter back in the binder, it suddenly seems to recall all the other letters, and you see them like lift up off the ground, and in a reverse motion. It's not like it's doing a new motion. It seems like it's going in reverse from where they fluttered down. They now sort of flutter up and then are pulled back into the binder and slams shut.
Oh no! Can I check for my mail before they go?
You can try to. If you want to try
I'm looking
and.
for either of my names.
It seems as you look and try to like see them, you perhaps grab one out of the air. It does seem to be addressed "Dear Irina," and then as you look at the rest of the text, I need you to roll an intelligence saving throw.
14 again.
That's a fail. I'm gonna say you take.
Oh.
Oh, it's minor. You only take 1 point of psychic damage, as you're suddenly looking at the words that are jumbled. It feels like suddenly something grabbed a hold of your brain and like swooshed it around really, really fast in a clockwise motion. Oh no, yeah, no, it would be clockwise. It felt like suddenly your mind span forward in time. As you look at the words, you see them, and they're a letter that's a reply to a letter that you have not yet sent. And as you're looking at them for just a moment, your eyes kind of like bulge, and the letter is snatched away. And as you have that momentary kind of pain in your brain, it seems like muscle control is shut down, and you're unable to hold onto the letter, which is suddenly yanked back into the binder and then slammed shut.
That's not fair. That's my mail. It could
Yeah.
be an overdue bill. And you've stolen it.
Well,
They-
My credit scores can be terrible in this world.
based on what was just said, it would be an underdue bill because it's a letter that is a response to something you haven't written yet. So it'd be a bill before you're meant to get billed.
I'm not even gonna think about that.
You just wanna think-
Okay.
You suddenly see the mimic quill hop up, or rather, let's call it the parrot quill, hops up and begins writing on a bit of scrap paper and says, or like a notepad, and says, "I'm sure Malone will reply to you post haste."
Like that. I don't suppose you know what she was last reading when she was here.
Last reading, she was in the what's it called? She said the quill says they were in the Sandquarium.
Okay.
And the Sandquarium is effectively one section of her tower that has a load of running sands that she uses for scrying and spellcasting. It's just a little aid, perhaps because she learned from Terig and she is in a desert place. She felt most attuned using those, but you can find them there. There's effectively like one large uh, step that goes up. A set of stairs that goes up to like this large fountain of sand, and it's currently not all working yet. But you remember when you first came here in the little side story, she was currently using the sands. The fountain was like falling into smaller like pots and buckets and basins, and then they would overflow and then fall into more separate ones. And what was one large fountain would be kind of separating into possible, well, possibilities, almost like a branching road that the sands could go in, and some of them would trickle down little trellises and little gutters, and then they would fall into another like spindle that would like fill up, and then like a water mill but full of sand, and that would spin. And
Gonna
it was a marvel to behold when it was in motion, but it's not moving anymore. It's just all still.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of check back down, like not go down the stairs, but stand at the top of the stairs and listen to see if like they're still occupied down there.
So at this point, you probably hear them say, "Ah, should we go fetch Irina about what to do next?" That's probably
Yeah,
what you heard.
I was about to say if we're getting to that point, I would be wanting to come upstairs to one, collect sorrow and see if their conversation between each other had got any information between the two quills,
Um,
or if they were still
about what?
just
What did you ask them?
just to see
There was
what been writing about. Maybe through their speaking, they spoke about anything of interest?
If I recall, it ended in an awkward silence because Sorrow had just, I guess, been a bit too much. That had been a bit too heavy, I think, Sorrow, and so that conversation kind of quickly died out.
Aye.
But if you do come up, you do see the writing, and it says that yeah, Malone will reply to you post haste.
I would have taken that paper and put it in my
Okay.
pocket.
That's fine. I would have gone to collect Sorrow anyway, and
In that case, then there is something you see, Llewellyn, and because you took the piece of paper, it was still mid writing, and it wrote another little bit afterwards, which perhaps you didn't notice, but it does say, "Give them 1 week out of time." That's what it says.
and I see this.
Yeah, you saw that. That's like the last bit on the scrap of paper.
What does that even?
That's all you see. You don't know what it means, but you can ask Irina if you want.
I do say that. Like, what does that even?
Would you mind not reading my mail? And I'm going to fold up that bit of paper and stick that in my pocket.
I came to collect my quill. It's not my fault I'm perceptive.
All right, that's
I,
fine. But
I sometimes see things that I don't mean to. Thanks to my book.
I'll tell you about it later. It's
No.
not important right now.
Sentient quill, living here on its own for over 10 years.
Yes.
Would it want to join us? We are looking for Malone anyway.
I mean,
maybe you hold on to it if it wants until you can give it back to Malone.
I just sort of look at the quill. Do you want to come, or you can stay here and carry on doing your job?
The quill writes, "Oh, oh no. I have a job to do now.
There you go.
I need to write her reply."
I take that bit of paper and stick that in my pocket.
You're just like grabbing scraps and scraps.
I literally every time it writes, I'm like, nope.
Your pockets are gonna be like all crinkly and
They probably already are, to be fair.
You seem to have cleaned up quite well. Because obviously, when I went downstairs, there was just letters everywhere scattered around the room.
Yeah.
All right, so only one of the letters was actually relevant, and I've written a reply. And then obviously it sucked all the letters back into the book, so I've got to now wait. No, I said, try and grab the quote. Just be like, stop it! Those letters are private.
Okay, you catch this one before Llewellyn can see it.
That's fine.
But Steph, it does say, oh no, all the letters are relevant. They're just ones that they're ones that you wrote. They're ones that, oh god.
We'll have
No,
them written.
it said those are replies to the letters you haven't written yet.
Okay, that's fine. As I said, it's right now only one of those letters is important, and it's not here yet. So
anyway, Carrier's had a great idea about splitting the party. That always goes well. So, would you like to come and join?
I mean, I kind of like sort of hesitate, but
Or you could stay here if you want.
I'm thinking I'm obviously waiting for a reply. So if you want to go without me, I'm quite happy to wait here.
Okay.
I'm just imagining that Irina actually just holds up a random bottle of alcohol at the same time. I'm just happy to wait. You know,
it's probably an ink bottle, to be fair.
An inkwell, yeah, sure.
Do you want some company? And I summoned the Vincent, just in case.
It's okay. You can take Vincent with you.
Not sketchy at all. Bye, Irina. And yeah, I'll just leave
Ah,
it.
fun.
If you hear chaos around the town, it wasn't.
I'll know it's you. It's
Don't
fine.
leave me with them!
Have fun.
Oh.
You traitor!
I'm literally gonna wait until I hear, like, when you sort of stand there and you wait for the front door to lock. And then I'm gonna head down to the sand aquarium thing.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry,
Yeah.
head up to it.
Yeah, I think it's up. Yeah.
I will leave Vincent on the outside of the building with orders to be very loud if anyone tries to enter this place.
I
Just
mean,
as
Vincent.
yeah, macro Raven.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Just as,
Right.
as an alarm for Irina, in case.
Yep. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Oh boy. So let's just think here. You're going to the Sanquarium. Currently it's not operational. She would use this in conjunction with one of her spells to cast, like scry, or she would like see through the sand. She'd use it as a medium. Some
mm-hmm.
wizards use like ivory sticks. Some use like a crystal ball. She uses these sands to sort of determine different directions and different meanings. Sometimes you'd even see the sand like animate into an image as
See,
well.
the thing is I know all of this, and I know Llewellyn can do this.
Yeah.
Therefore, I am determined that I can do this.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm going to attempt this, even though I'm pretty damn sure that I can't.
What are you
Okay.
attempting?
She's going to attempt to use the Sandquarium to cast a certain spell.
Cry or something? Or...
Something maybe akin. What divination spells do you know?
None.
That's a lie. You do have one.
Yeah, legend lore, I think. Divination.
You have legend lore. Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's because Legend Lore, we tweaked it so that I could have it, because ordinarily I wouldn't be able to.
Right.
So yeah, okay. Legend Lore is the one that I've got then.
Okay. So effectively, you know a divination spell, and you know these sands that are used to divine things. You already you understand some of the verbal components in order to summon the sand, and they immediately do sort of begin to heed your call almost, and you realize more so than not the whole this whole area around the floor was kind of littered in sand, almost like the wind had kind of maybe blown and knocked it off or something. Either that, or maybe it just crept along the floor, searching for a meaning, or its former master. But when you begin even just speaking the words to the ritual, you see the sand suddenly lift up and they kind of sweep themselves off the floor and fill the large basin right at the back. And having a look at the basin, it almost looks like one half of an hourglass. But right now, it's full. And if you were to cast, Legend Lore, first of all, what would you begin to describe or name?
Um. I don't want to put down anyone in the capital because we know that doesn't work. However, Malone may not be in the capital, but I am waiting for a letter in reply. The quill said a week in time, right?
A week out of time.
A week out of time. I'd like to focus on a reply to a letter.
Okay, that's fine. As you begin to focus on a reply, all you want is a reply. That's your focus, and you kind of close your eyes for a moment, just thinking it and visualizing it in your mind's eye, and you remember how she would indeed get letters sent and replied, and you're thinking specifically on Malone, and you suddenly hear a flapping noise, and as you wake, well, not wake, but as you open your eyes, perhaps at least maybe 10 minutes has passed during this moment, because you realize now in front of you, all of the sands have sort of spilled out of the major basin, and as they spread, they kind of formed out into wings, and you see that there is this large summoned bird-like creature, and it's exotic looking in appearance. It's got a long beak, long tail feathers, this large kind of plumage that's still like hovering there, but it's completely made of sand. Everything it's comprised of. And as it begins flapping there for a moment, um, and you just think of a reply, it flies over towards the other side of the room where the library is and the binder, and you see the binder open up. The letter flies out, catches it in its beak, and the sands then swirl around the room, fly back towards the basin, and as it does, it kind of goes into like a barrel roll, and the sands like fly into the air, spin out like a spiral, and it just sort of almost blinds you for a moment because the sand just flies everywhere out of the room. But with it, the letter has completely disappeared. It is gone from sight, almost like it just flew out of time. And you realize from that angle, the way it kind of barrel rolled, it almost looked like it was going in an anti-clockwise fashion, like that letter was being sent back in time. And the wings were like hands on a clock. And that's it. That's what you see. And with that, we'll
So,
go
do
back
I
to the
think
other.
it's delivered my letter to the past?
Potentially.
Gosh, darn it! I just sit in the middle of this sand, just being like,
You're just like covered in sand.
it's not even that. She's just annoyed that she couldn't do it, so she knows she's gonna have to ask Llewellyn for help.
Yeah. It definitely didn't do the scrying, but something else happened. And you can only pray that your letter was delivered. And that did use up your invocation. What's it called?
Yep, my legend lore.
Yeah, what it's actually called as a warlock? Your Mystic Arcanum, that's what it did. So it expended it, but you can get that back in a long rest. Okay, the others. All right, so you come back down the stairs, and Llewellyn looks like he's not been able to retrieve Irina, but
Okay, so that's one down from the plan, but basically, Andy go speak to children, should find information. Sean, use whatever wiles you can to get information out of the carpenter's wife. Llewellyn be a distraction. Maybe buy a table or something.
Thought I was sneaking in and he was a distraction.
Oh, whichever way you want. Whichever you feel will be most effective.
Well, I could just be a fly and fly in.
And me and Arthur here are going to scout the guards and see who we think might be susceptible to a little bit of bribery. Using his special talents.
And water.
yeah, sure, apparently.
And water. Well, that will be the bribe once we find out who we're bribing. And the objects of our thing, find out who was kidnapped and hasn't returned. find out if anyone other than the people at the acacia, the acacia shade, whatever it's called, have disappeared and come back, and if they've changed at all, which is honestly what I suspect happened to the carpenter. Find out why the laws changed, and find out what we can about Andy's dad. And we'll leave Irina to play with her books and her letters.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did seem
okay.
a bit. She did seem a little bit on the weird side. Was up there,
well, her
Her
last name.
is strange.
Yeah. Yeah.
but not more like
Are you surprised?
not strange, but like she was hiding something.
She's allowed to have secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed. She'll tell us when she wants to tell us.
Exactly.
Right.
I just expected it to be more like, it's my stuff. Go leave me alone, sort of thing.
And maybe she wanted to try to be more polite,
Sketchy.
but struggled.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's the fact that she's writing stuff and you're calling her sketchy kind of makes me chuckle.
What?
Because writing is almost like sketching. She's being sketchy. Right. So anyone have any objections to that plan of hack, for want of a better word?
Sure. What are we asking again?
Right.
Let me go back. Sorry. Right. Find out who was kidnapped and hasn't returned. Find out who has disappeared for a bit and come back. If they changed all. Find out laws that have changed or why they've changed. Andy's dad, who is definitely named
Raheem.
Raheem. Yes, I remember
Yes.
that. Llewellyn does. Jamie did not.
And not Miha, which would be his name backwards, I
Okay.
think. I don't know. I just thought
I'm still
Okay.
worrying about sending Kashan in. Like,
Well, the thing is, it's sort of a difficult one. Who is she more likely to be terrified of? The guy with one eye and a hook for a hand? Or the cat
guy
man?
who will likely knock her out if he struggles.
She might be into that sort of thing.
No.
If I don't have to fight, I won't fight.
Yeah, exactly.
I can
Yeah.
make myself look like something else.
Yes, we know, but
Not tonight, but
I'm just worried. Well, we've got like 6 hours. We might as well use the time that we've got to try to get this information. If this plan fails, then we'll try something else. But we might as well use the time.
to the carpenter and
And
to whatever you guys do.
and I'll leave Taklo with you, Andy, just in case you need to call for help or something. Then they can contact me, and yeah.
Is there anything you guys need me to do?
Well, you're teaming up with Llewellyn to either go into the carpenter's wife house yourself or distract the carpenter so that he can get in. Whichever way you want to do it, I'll let you two decide. And I can't believe I'm sending off the two of you together, but it seemed the most likely combination.
Yeah,
Alright.
Team Cavellin.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start with those then, because I'm sure you have the highest initiative. You'll probably be out the door in there in no time. So you, Evelyn, sprint out, and you can get to the carpenter very easily through the alleyways that you followed. And when you come back around, the carpenter is there. He's back at work, sees you, and says, "Ah, you're ready to go get that wood. I would suggest to have perhaps do it earlier rather than later. Might get dark soon."
Yeah. Where did you say it was again? Sorry, man. there's been a lot going on, and a lot of people saying some really good things. Just, could you give me directions again? And and I guess I'll cast Arcane Hand to sort of like, just to cause a distraction for one. But like as he's saying the directions, I'll have the Arcane Hand sort of like pointing at the different directions that he's saying.
Or you could do like a minor image and like create a map.
I don't have that right now.
Oh.
Out to the west, directly west from here. You'll
Right.
see large, dark wood.
Like exactly west,
Mhm.
or like like
Up a little bit, but not by much.
up a little.
If you head west, you would not be missing it.
Could you show me the shade of wood that you're on about? Like, do you have means of just in case? Because I don't want to come back with the wrong type of
Sure.
wood.
Sure, he finds a dark piece of wood like before. It looks very much like mahogany.
And is that the type of wood that's on the outside of the tree or the inside of the tree? Because obviously the bark might be a different color. What kind of bark color am I looking for?
Does it?
Do you have any drawings of the tree?
No. Just follow the trail west. You will find the tree.
But that not directly west, you said. Somewhat slightly up, or was it down?
He seems to be losing his patience with you.
Is this at some point that Kashan actually does his thing for sneaking in?
Okay, yeah. So what do you do, Kashan? Whilst he's clearly getting very frustrated. Just
Well,
wants the weather to go.
I guess the first question is, what are we here for again?
We're here to get information from the carpenter's wife.
You need to sneak into the building.
These are the things we're trying to find out. I put them in the chat.
And there's a giant arcane hand right in front of his face as well. Sort of like, I guess I would like.
Why don't we just ask to talk to his wife?
Because he didn't want to let us earlier. Like, he seemed like really overprotective of her, which is suspicious.
And a strange cat man diving in through the window saying, "Who's been kidnapped? Tell me."
I was thinking be a bit more polite than that. You know, you're sneaky,
Why?
Breaking and entering isn't exactly nice.
You're not breaking and entering. Well, you are, but...
It is breaking and entering.
But
It's trespass.
But it's because you're worried about her. Because she seems scared.
I assume you're having this conversation before we went to the car.
Yeah, yeah.
Kashan will just turn around and be like, "What are we doing here?"
I mean, Garrett did say if anyone had any objections to the plan, then raise them now. If not, off you go. And nobody said anything, so...
Yeah, it's a stupid plan.
Well, you've gone along with it so far.
Are you gonna do anything, Kashan, while I'm distracting him, or?
No,
Yeah,
that's a very bad plan.
Yeah, well, the time for objections has passed. Either you do the plan or you don't at this point. We can't discuss. You can't discuss.
I'll look at the building. Are there any easy entry points?
Yes, right in front of you. But he's kind
Is
of
it the
standing
front
there.
door?
It is. Yeah. The thing is, this is like a tent with loads of furniture on the outside, so it's kind of open. But you can literally just head straight into his abode from where you're standing.
What I will also do is I'll also be like, so which way is directly left, and I'll pick him up and raise him with the arcane hand so he can point me in the direction. So he's no longer at his front door.
Okay. Well,
Just point me in the right direction. I need exact coordinates.
he says there, right there.
He's like lifted up.
And Kushan, you can give me a stealth check if you want to try and sneak in through the front door.
Okay.
And wow, that's good enough. Seems like he's lifted up the guy so high that you're able to literally just whoop, sneak right on in. However,
Oh, that's amazing.
wow, incredible. Ishan, as you push open the door just slightly and slip on in, it doesn't seem. It seems you were fortunate, first of all, that his wife wasn't just spying on you immediately. Because last time she was sat at the crack in the door, looking straight in, and I guess then, as you go in, you look around, you do see a fairly bare interior. There is simple like tables, pots. It doesn't seem to be of like literally anything of worth in here, and which is probably what you're instinctively thinking of as soon as you break in an entry into someone's abode. Like, is there anything to steal? Literally, there's hardly anything of worth. Like, everything's very simple made. In fact, probably just the carpenter's like work. There is another room off to the side that looks like a bedroom. You're kind of in the kitchen / living room area.
Okay. I'll just kind of like push in ever so slightly and then knock on the door and kind of whisper, "Hello? Is anybody home?"
Oh, okay. In that case, you hear a woman's voice say, "What? Who is there?"
Hi. Fred, I don't. Why am I doing this?
Because you're the sneaky one.
Hi. So my friends peer pressured me to break into your house so I could ask you questions about the town.
Wow.
There's silence.
Wow.
Hey, I'm just trying to be honest. I'm a father of one.
You just got wrong.
I'm just
Oh no,
trying.
the whole point was like her husband was being sketchy. We were worried he was hurting her.
Yeah.
You hear a drawer open.
Oh no.
I've killed Kashan.
So I guess while I'm here, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Silence.
Have you
Silence.
thought about upgrading your car insurance recently?
Would you be interested in
Bill
being the
just-
mother of my egg?
Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior?
Cthulhu.
Egbert.
But yeah, in terms of the wife, probably the two most important details are why her husband seems off to the point where like he's got shoddy work suddenly.
No, Carius,
And
you're not here anymore.
Right.
No,
okay.
this would be
all right, I'll get in
previously
full
explained.
Roleplay mode. Right. Okay. Before that, anything gets a little too hasty. So, the reason why I'm here is my friend who is currently out there. Yes, distracting your husband. They were worried about you. He saw you.
It's at this point, as your mid sentence, suddenly the door swings open. You see a flash of a blade coming straight towards you, and can attempt to hit you.
Okay.
Wait, who said
Disadvantage,
blade?
of course.
Yes, you're right, actually, but kind of almost counteracted by the fact that she is trying to jump you and surprise you with this. So I'm just gonna roll a
This is
flat
fine.
roll. Okay, cool. And what do we add to this? Oh yes, 16. Just under. Kev,
So
that was so close. 17 is your AC.
Kushan is actually a disadvantage as well.
Yeah, but she was basically surprise rounding you. But well, she was hidden effectively when she struck. So she just
Okay,
she
That made
yanks
it
open the
flat.
door and immediately there's a knife straight at
that's
your
fine.
face, and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But
So Kashan unfazed continues his questions. So what exactly is going on about this town? One of my friends is a resident here, and it doesn't seem to be the same way that she's been describing it to us. And after all, your husband was acting quite shady, and well, I mean, you right now are attacking. So of course something must be a bit off here.
she
I was just
looks
thinking maybe we could talk.
Uh, she is absolutely hysterical and like
Mhm.
like just stabbing repeatedly, trying to get to you. And so after you just talk for a moment, she will attack again. This time I'll give her a
That's
disadvantage.
fine.
So whoa, that's still a 17 this time.
Went about as well as I expected it to
It's a
go.
hit, right?
It
Right?
is.
Okay, cool. So it's at this point you begin to realize that she's not just some the way she's stabbing. It's more than just like in a panic stabbing. It's hysterical and threatening for sure. But it seems like she's actually targeting key areas for which to stab. She's not just going randomly at you, and you begin to realize they actually know how to use that weapon like fairly well. And it's just at
Broke
that
into the
point when
rogue stone.
you're talking, and she finally strikes true. And as the blade hits you, you take first of all a longsword damage, which is d.
If it's going to be any kind of poison damage, don't bother.
Well, it's you two take some slashing damage, so you take let's see, 9 points.
Damn.
No,
That'd
10
be
points.
stabby.
Take 10 points of slicing damage, and at this point you suddenly look down at the wound and you realize the blade is in the blade. Sorry, the blade is indeed smeared with some kind of poison,
Mhm.
and you feel your body suddenly like thump for a moment, like your heartbeat just stops, and your inner purity of body kicks in and immediately repels the poison. But you could feel it. There was a toxin in that blade, a potent one at that. But you're completely immune to it.
Does she look stunned by that?
Uh, so she does look for a moment at you, like yes, stunned, as if like that should have done something to you, and she is completely shocked that it hasn't. But
Or kind
she
of just
backs away for a
oh
moment,
god.
like what?
She backs
What are
away.
you?
She backs away.
Yeah, just for a moment.
Kashan will lean in and say, "That kind of stuff doesn't work on me." And he'll flick her on the forehead with my attack of opportunity.
Okay, go ahead.
Does 24 hit?
Yeah, 100%.
Don't worry about the damage because it was a flick.
Okay. You just
However, a
want to.
Constitution saving throw.
You're
You're
gonna
gonna
actually stun her.
Okay, they fail.
Yeah, that'll do.
They're
So,
stunned.
yeah, she'll drop to the floor. Kashan will just take the knife from her hand and say, "Do you mind if we have this conversation now? Because I'm not here to pick a fight. We were actually worried that your husband was doing this, but clearly it
She
looks like
calls
you're a
out.
little in on this."
She is stunned, but she's like trying to like call out to her husband. Let me just actually look at the stun condition.
It's like mumbles. You can't.
Anchorage and capacity, can't move, and can speak only falteringly. Yeah, so she's like like trying to call out, but it's coming out as just a bit of a stutter. So that's kind of stifled. But this it's a long sword, by the way, not just a knife. You're holding this
Oh, it's a
quite
sword.
a sizable weapon. Yeah, it's a long
Oh,
sword.
you said dagger.
No, no, it's a long sword. But yeah, either way, it has been completely smeared with some sort of poison.
Wow.
You can still
Okay.
see it like dripping off the blade.
Um, Well,
And there's a couple of bottles perhaps on the dresser as well that on a second glance, maybe those aren't perfumes.
well, in that case, Kashar will say, I'm guessing this was a mistake. I'm terribly sorry to have disturbed you. In her stunned state, he will place the blade back into her hands and walk out, saying, Llewellyn, this was a complete waste of my time. Thank you very much.
What do you mean?
You have about 6 seconds before.
What? What have you done? He like jumped off of your arcane hand. And literally jumped off of it.
I placed him on top of the building and shouted, "Can you see the trees I'm after from up there?"
Well,
Like, he's on top of this building here.
I'm just,
Jesus. Okay, in that case, he's going to attempt to jump down from it.
by the way, I've stepped the wind.
Okay.
Middle.
Llewellyn, you see this man jump down from where you say the top of the building, which is quite a sizable drop. I'd say at least 15 foot, and he doesn't quite make the landing, but nor does he break his legs.
As he's doing that, and I'm starting to walk away after Kashar, I'm like, thanks, I think I got the direction, and I feather fall him as I follow.
Oh, okay. That's kind of it. He says, "What has happened?" You can hear his muffled voices. "What do they do?" And that's as much as you hear. Suddenly, the nearby guards as well are like looking over the balcony.
Oh,
What the
no.
hell? They look over in your direction, and I'm gonna say that they shout, "What's going on down there?" And of course, the carpenter's shouting back, "Breaking and entry! They trespass on my home!"
And as
And,
soon as Llewellyn gets to me, that's for you.
What? You carry us his plan?
Yes, but you went along with it.
Which
So did you!
I
not even
know.
there.
The voices are probably distant at this point, but you can hear the shouting, something like, "God damn, find out!" And so, yes, guards have definitely been dispatched to find and detain you. Well, that was interesting.
That
Let's
was
go
so
to Andy.
pointless. That was so pointless.
You asked nothing that we needed to know, really.
Because breaking an entry is literally like somebody breaking into my window behind me and say, "Do you know where I can buy some milk?" It's like,
well, if you had an
The
objection
first
to the
thing-
plan, object when we were
first
discussing
thing-
the plan.
I'm not going to turn around and be like, "Oh yeah, sure, the shop's just down the road." No, my first thing is going to be, "Get the fuck out of my house."
Well, you didn't air this when we were talking about it, so...
Yeah, but I thought she was actually in trouble.
Well, she seemed
She
to be.
seemed like she was in trouble.
Yeah, she did. She seemed
No,
scared.
she was
peering...
probably watching to make sure if you came inside, she was going to shank you.
Like, we weren't even... We were just on the street, and she was acting like she was extremely scared of something. And now we know that she wasn't.
So technically,
I never
we
once said
did
that she looked
find out
scared.
something.
Not quite what we wanted to know, but at least she can handle herself.
Hold
Apparently.
on, what was that, Chris? Sorry,
never
would you
once
like to air that to the knobheads over there?
Yeah, if you want, you can watch the replay. I don't think at any point I once said that she looked scared.
And she was
Just
sort of
that
like
she was
peering.
watching.
Yeah, but
She was
peering
spying
through
on
a
you guys.
doorway, and then suddenly, as soon as like anyone even paid a slight bit of attention, she immediately closed the door, which either suggests she's either scared that she was noticed, or she was scared someone else might have noticed she was looking.
So, like the husband being like, "Oh yes, she's recovering from a snake bite," which is obviously a blatant lie.
Yeah, exactly.
So we were just like,
We were
maybe
suspicious.
The
That's
husband's
what should be.
Yeah.
Okay. You gathered some information even in that chaos. She's clearly not bedridden and recovering. She didn't look like she had a sweat on her or anything like that. She looked
Though.
quite capable of defending herself, Kashan.
But to be fair, she does have a low constitution, so she should probably stay away from snakes.
Okay. Yes, good point. But good information. And she was armed with poisons. and a longsword, of which she was very capable of using. You know, this is
Mhm.
no carpenter's wife. Clearly, she knows how to use a weapon.
Oh,
So
I
Kashan, very grumpy, just walks back at. Oh, I'm stuck in a wall. No.
I
That's
meant-
what you get. You're on the roof. now.
I messaged this person here who we've spoke to before, haven't we? This person?
What, the person with the wicker baskets?
Yeah.
They're no longer there. Has
Ah,
he come
just-
out?
I just
Okay.
get
Which is
back
odd,
to
by the way.
everyone.
They've left all their goods outside, by the way.
Okay, I was gonna message her and just say if the guards come, we went up that way.
You look left, look right. She was
Or-
here a moment ago, and you'd think if she was moving on, she would at least pack up all her baskets and stuff. All of her stuff is just sat out here. She's gone somewhere.
Alright.
As soon as I get back in, I just say, "Well, that was a bit of a waste," and just kind of like remove the part of the road that was stabbed, and I start bandaging myself.
Yeah, there's a nasty, nasty cut. And Kashan, once again, I want to point out they weren't just randomly stabbing you. This was possibly going for, what's the side of your, I guess your kidneys. It was going
Yeah.
for a vital organ, we'll say.
Yeah.
She knew where to try and stab. She was going for a kill, effectively.
Well, I guess this is why Carius wanted you to go in.
Punch him again.
Okay. So
These guys knew what they were doing. They
Hmm.
they aren't just some merchant folk. Andy, what? I mean,
Interesting.
Andy's not here.
Uh,
So
Yeah.
while that was going on, Andy is
sorry.
somewhere else.
Oh,
But-
okay.
Yeah,
I'm just
as is
saying.
Karis, but
I don't know what kind of people are living here at the moment, but they're no mundane merchants.
So yeah, I guess we'll enter the building and be like, Irina, we may have got the guards on us.
Wow.
and then we'll cut to the next people doing their thing.
Yeah, I think that is a good
That's the
place to cut.
case. I lock the door from the side with my key. Why
No,
not?
no, no. I say that after we get in.
Oh my god. Okay.
Well, if they
let's
turn
go
up
to-
here, I'm turning you in.
Oh no!
You can turn him in.
He snuck
You
into.
promised. You promised.
He snuck into a place and attacked the woman on the inside.
I didn't attack her. She attacked me.
And what were you doing to stop him?
I was making sure that we didn't get caught by the carpenter.
Well, you didn't do a bloody good job then, did you?
Well, the carpenter didn't catch us. It was his wife. So I did a very good job.
It's always the quiet ones.
Technically, she didn't catch you. It's just because Kashan said, "Hello, is anyone home?" I was like, oh, okay. That kind of gives away
Well,
the
I
song.
mean, I'm not so I walked in and I made myself known, so I didn't
yeah.
startle her. It turns out that I startled her and she tried to stab me.
So we was wondering if you'd come with us, and you left us to our own devices, and Carius put us together. I blame Carius on this.
Oh man.
I
Anyway,
go
we're
back
gonna cut.
upstairs
Yeah, we're
and I shut the door and lock it behind me.
I'm
Good
going
choice.
back to my shelf with my mandolin.
sad mandolin noises. All right. Shall we cut to Andy?
Okay.
Okay. So you would like to ask some of the street urchins and
Well,
children.
It's not that I would like to. I've been instructed. This is what I am doing.
I asked, and if anyone had any objections, they had the chance to object.
Yeah. I think it's more of a
She's
suggestion.
going by what she's being told, so. And it does make sense. She knows where all the kids hang
Exactly.
out.
It made the most logical sense.
Now it's
All right.
Andy's turn to cause chaos.
But if you do happen to come up with another idea, then feel free. But
So.
for now, if you do wish,
She'll go
Okay.
talk to the kiddies.
alrighty,
She's
sure. So
Down with the kids.
Please
So-
don't do that again.
So there's either there's some alleyways that kids like to hang out in just because it's away from adult eyes. They can get out to all kinds of mischief by themselves, or perhaps it's just to play games in their own
She's
little.
probably hidden in a couple of them herself, so
Yeah,
over the years.
it's just so they can be somewhere away from all the other vendors. They don't get shouted at for causing a ruckus. So inclusive, quieter kids go. Um, However, if you're looking for more um, boisterous and I guess lively kids, some of them will be in the actual town square where the dried up well is, and either chasing birds or, you know, talking to people, and just it's a bigger area to sort of run around in effectively.
Is there any kind of... Well, she probably looks like a teenage boy, how she is at the moment, but is there any maybe kind of young teen boys maybe hanging around there that she might be able to talk to a little bit easier in that sense?
Yeah, which ones do you want to go to though? Ones in the alleyways or the ones in the town square?
I would probably go to the ones in the alleyway
Okay,
because, of course, I don't want a potential guard to maybe hear us if we're
gotcha.
walking past in the middle of the street.
Sure, makes sense.
Hmm.
So yes, if you're looking for particularly ones about teenage years, then I'll say, you know what, just give me a general your choice. We don't have a streetwise in this game, but I guess the closest would be perception. Okay, nice. All right. So I'm gonna roll something quick. I'm gonna roll it again. Okay, it is that. All right, cool. So
Has
yes,
it
there
land
is.
on its side?
Yeah, almost. All right, so you find some quieter, more shady-looking kids. They're a bit downtrodden. One of them's kind of wearing like a yellow bandana, and simple kind of garbs, robes. Just a one of them's wearing like a little uh, leather pouch, and he seems to be just like sifting through the pouch at the moment. And as soon as you kind of come around the corner, um, they suddenly like grip a hold of the pouch tighter and then put it behind their back. And they look over to you and they're like, uh, "Who are you? What do you want?"
Well, I've been out of the town for a little while. I wanted to go to my old hangouts, and you don't have to worry about hiding that. I was one of you. Don't worry. And she like produces a rather full money pouch.
Their eyes go wide, and they're like, "Huh? You get all of that yourself?"
More or less. I had a little help here and there from some suckers who I got to help me, but most of it was just me.
Hmm. They kind of look at each other, and then look back to you. And how can we help exactly?
Well, you see, I've been out of town for a little while and really different since I came back. Like this week curfew thing? What the hell is that about?
Yeah, it sucks. Can't go out and play after dark.
That was like the best time to find suckers who you could get money from.
I know, right? I mean, wait, yeah. They seem to like
Don't
not
worry,
know whether to trust you or not.
I'm not gonna let you I'm not gonna let the guards in on you. Don't worry. I mean, been there, done that. I've run from them so many times. I wouldn't put you in that situation. And almost to like to try and offer peace, she'd offer that bag of money. And there's probably, I would say she's probably got about 20 gold pieces in that one pouch alone.
Well, you offer that to them.
Mm-hmm.
You- We can keep this?
Yeah, sure. I know how hard it is on the street.
I th- Thanks. What they just seem to, like, be speechless, they've just been given this much. They're like, uh, we'll tell you anything you want, like, what do you wanna know?"
Just as much as you know about what is going on with this weird shadow thing that's apparently creeping around and kidnapping people. And there's an old friend of mine who apparently was killed here. I would really love to know if there's any rumors about why that happened.
"Hmm, okay. Who is your friend?"
He was kind of like a extended family member. His name was Rahim. He used to play the violin on the streets, and you know had a Ganassi friend who was always dancing to his music. It was a little while ago. I don't know if you might know anything or heard anything.
One of them speaks up and says, "Oh, I miss the Genasi dancers. They were amazing. They
They
haven't
were
been
pretty cool, weren't they?
we haven't had dancers in the streets in weeks now, months maybe. It's sad, but um, as for execution, you reckon they could have been old enough that they were around during the time, but
They probably
because
would have
they're
been
of
very
teenage years.
small. Yeah.
However, they would have been too small, and they
Mm.
wouldn't have been like wanting to see such a grisly event. Um, they do say though, um, we're missing a friend as well.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, we don't know who Raheem is, but maybe you've
that's
seen our
fine.
friend.
What's their name?
Um, there was a pair of them. There was
Okay.
Saffron and Sammy, but they've not been back, or at least maybe maybe they got kidnapped by maybe they got oh god. They seem to like start thinking of like rumors and ideas.
It's
But no,
okay. Take it.
they never left. I feel
Calm
like they
down.
never left the city, but they disappeared. Maybe they get caught.
Saffron and Sammy, you say.
Mm.
Were they human or Genasi or
No, they were humans. They were one of them was the daughter of the carpenters, and the other
okay?
one was the son to what's it called? The there's another merchant, the merchant uh Omar, I believe. I think he was a baker. Yeah,
Okay. Um, I mean, can either of you draw or anything like that? Maybe just simple pictures so I can kind of try and tell who we may be looking for. Because if I can find them, I will try and make sure they get home safe. I mean,
yeah. They don't have drawings, but one of them says, Sammy is like pudgy kid, short curly hair, and Saffron, she had, well, as you imagine, saffron colored hair, and she had freckles, and what else? They try to reel off like distinguishing features and such. Um, and they always had like a red scarf with them as well. But they try to give their best description of them, but they don't have very good artists. They try to just try to like draw it out in the sand, and it's or in the dirt. It's very rough. But yeah, those have gone missing. We haven't seen them in a while.
mm, have the guard actually given you any trouble? Have they been a
The
burden
guard,
to
yeah,
you? I've heard there's a conflict between the locals and the guards these days.
that's why we're in the alleyways because
Yeah.
they're looking for us. Oh,
Well, just because you're on the streets, or
I don't know. I think they suspect us for something, maybe.
okay.
Not that we've done anything terrible. Just trying to survive here.
Mm.
But yeah, they've been cleaning up the place pretty harshly. Anyone caught gets thrown in the prison, in the crypt. Yeah, the prison.
And you don't think you didn't see Samuel Saffron talking to any guards or anything?
No,
Okay.
no, that would be stupid to talk to the guards.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, but it happens. It happens sometimes. Look, I'll try and find your friends, and you've been very, very helpful. You two are fantastic. Look, what are your names so I know how I want to know, be able to find you again, so I can bring your friends back to you.
Okay, so they say, um, my name is Alif, and there's another one there, I guess. There's probably a
My
couple, like
brain
a
went a
few.
twig.
Alif.
Aloof
Yeah.
and a twig.
My
No,
name is
no,
Aziz, father
they
of
spell it out in the
Ashur.
sun. They s-
Sorry.
You making fun of us?
Robin Hood Men in Tights flashbacks. It's just like, oh.
And there's a couple of them though. So one of them says, one of them's like, I'm Hana, and this is Elham. So
Okay,
there's a
I'll
group of them there.
remember at least Alif, because I'll assume that's the one's been talking to me the most.
Yeah, seems like the leader of them.
Okay. He goes, okay. Well, she goes, just be careful, all right? I'll do everything I can, and I will try and get as much information back to you as well. If you find out anything more
Mm-hmm.
and you think it is important, I am staying with some friends at the old wizard's tower. If you
Oh,
just give the name Makin, then they will let
okay.
you in, okay?
Okay, thanks, Makim.
It's no problem.
All right.
Take care of yourselves. And she walks off. He's a he at the moment.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. All right. Okay. So a little bit of information, and what else? Is there other bits you want to gather? It's probably at this point actually you hear the guards. It's probably as you come around the corner. It's when you see a rush of guards suddenly sprinting past you, and yeah, they say, well, they ran into the city, so they must be in here, hiding. And they say, search the abandoned homes. Check
she
there first.
backtracks into the alley. She's just
Yeah.
like, actually, do you guys want to come with me?
What? They were kind of like, no.
I figured as much. Come on, this way. And she leads them back to the tower.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got guards who are probably going to turn up. We've got a bunch of hideout. What's Carius going to bring back?
Guards? He is going speaking to guards.
Yeah, a
It has
troop
a
of
magical
kids.
front door, right? So I'm assuming no one can actually enter without
I
express
know.
permission.
I brought some guests. They're homeless children.
Do they have sticky fingers like you?
Yes, but I'm sure if they promise they'll be on their best behavior.
They better, because the stuff is either booby-trapped or cursed. I don't think they want to touch.
Yes, don't touch anything. You could get very badly hurt, and I mean it.
As soon as they come in, I'm like, except the checkerboard.
Don't listen
Yes,
to that
no,
one with the
yes.
hook for a hand.
Ah, pirate.
There's a reason he's missing his hand.
Sticky fingers.
Okay. They weren't convinced to not touch anything at first, but now seeing the hook hand, they're like, okay, yeah, we get it now. Yeah.
Go sit with the tabaxi. Listen to him play
Oh,
music.
He's
can I pet
trying to.
him?
He's learning to be a dad, so go play with him.
He's also very violent.
Can I pet
No,
him?
he's not.
He punched a woman today.
Please don't
Like-
scare the children.
I
like the
didn't
woman.
punch her, I flipped her.
Okay,
Like I
they
said,
just
don't listen to that one, okay?
they
His name is
they seem to be
Libellum.
loving this interaction. Even though it sounds like they're dangerous people, they actually seem to be well into this. Like they're loving it. Um. So, all right. Meanwhile, Carius
And
uh,
Harthir. It took
and
Harthir
Harper.
before.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Fire and
We
water.
will. Where should we go?
Right.
It's very quiet here in town, so
Well, no,
if
my
you
friends, it won't be shortly. But um, where other than on the walls, where do the guards normally hang out? Where might we see some guards that you might be able to tell if they're
there's
amenable to persuasion?
one or two in the town square, I'm sure.
Yeah, that seems a good place. I haven't been there yet.
All right. Very well. Now follow me, and he leads you through a series of alleys, and let's grab your token.
I'm just imagining
And
that as
yeah.
as they're going, Karis just sees in the distance a man being lifted on an arcane hand, and Karis is just like, ugh.
This town square used to be filled with dancers, musicians. It is so sad to see it empty. Well,
Is that more out of like the fear thing, or is that more the whole curfew, or is it just like it's been banned?
fear of all things.
Right.
A mixture, sorry, of fear, suspicion. No one wants to draw attention to themselves.
I may be in the wrong town. Karis sort of just looks at, walking around, two glaives, a scythe, fancy orange coat, art, religious armor. Just like, it may stand
You
out a
point-
little.
He points over yonder and says, "The parched dancer does have their own security, but they're not an official guard, part of the guardsmen. Uh, if there's any semblance of happiness left, it's probably in there."
Right.
Or, and but he looks around and says, "There's a guard next to us, in fact, and he seems to be unloading like a wagon, or maybe he's checking over the goods actually
Yeah.
of said wagon, and he's talking to one of the merchants. Um, they're just discussing like the wares, like what they're keeping, how their business is and such.
And
But and there's another guard. Say, where is? Grab him. I will say that there's another guard that's just walking through the town square, just patrolling, looking around, and then there's a kid that's running around chasing these birds off, and this guard just shoots the kid like a stern look, and the kid looks a little bit embarrassed, I guess, sort of like scorned. The kid is like scorned, says, "Run off home, for making a mess in the street."
so, Halfbeer, what's your fire genasi I see? Which one looks like they might be a bit extra thirsty, shall we say?
He stops for a moment and he ducks behind just the alleyway which you guys came through, we'll say, and he does it out of sight of you as well. But you probably hear a verbal component to a spell, and after he comes back out, he looks no different. But he begins to look around and surveys the area. That one is of good heart. And he points to the one who's actually the one who's inspecting the goods of the merchant. He is being thorough.
So he might
But the
have
one
plenty of
who's
information. He'd at least care.
the one who scorned the child, he could be bought.
I think I'm gonna try for the one who seems to care, and then maybe try for one of the others first. After that, see if I can do this the more legitimate way than resort to market strategy.
Okay.
I will head over towards this guard over here. I will sort of whisper to Harther and just be like, he's not a fire genasi. Is there like a typical greeting in this case?
Not a typical one, but
Right.
just be yourself.
Right. Karis is just like, oh, it's a weird, strange how odd it is to hear that. Hello there. Do you mind if I have a word? I call out to the guard.
So the guard is currently looking through the goods and saying you haven't brought in anything dangerous. Any of these cactus are poisonous? No. And then he suddenly hears you and then turns around and goes, "Ah, I'm currently in the middle of an investigation, but
Oh,
if
I
you
can
wish
wait.
to wait,
Yeah, I can wait. I'll
Okay.
go have a look at this stall over here whilst I'm waiting.
He turns back, and the merchant's like, "Poisonous? Why would I bring poisons into the city? I'm here to trade, not to kill." And the guard seems to be just a precaution. We've had reports. Reports of what? It's none of your business. In fact, just go about your business. Never mind. Ugh. He kind of shakes his head like he seems to be. You can roll an insight check.
You know what? No, I won't. What the
Just
dice
seems
give me.
frustrated. Just he's lets out this long sigh. Just seems to be a bit like frustrated about what you can't really tell. But anyway, he turns to you and says, well, what can I help you with? It's
I do.
hot day. Come
Yeah.
into the shade. Come into.
Yep. I do apologize for distracting you from your business. I realize you're a busy individual, and it is a rather warm day for one such as myself. But I'll cut to the chase. As you can probably tell, I'm not. Whilst I am one of the damsies, I am a bit of a merchant to some extent. I'm more of the adventuring type, and obviously there's been rumors of kidnapping, people acting differently, and if I'm gonna be trying to establish a trade back to here, I kind of need to know what's going on to see if it's viable or if it's too much of a risk, and if it is a risk, perhaps see if there's a way I can mitigate that risk, aka help solve the problem.
The guard are doing everything they can, but the either people are not being cooperative or they're very the word standoffish.
Yes, I have noticed that it
We
been.
do not have the means to get a warrant for every single house. I'm just doing my best to survey the surface level. What? Yes, we have had disappearances. We've had people go missing whilst traveling. People going missing in the night.
I
But
realize this might be a bit of an odd one, but you have a list of those who have gone missing. I realize as the guards you obviously want to do this the most upstanding way, but perhaps a little bit of outside help might be able to relieve the stress, as it were.
that is personal information. Roll a persuasion check.
Yeah. I'm actually good. But this is an important one, so I will use my inspiration.
Okay.
I didn't need to use the inspiration. That's kind of annoying, but still, 27. Good use of the
Yeah.
inspiration just as a mitigating factor. This is important.
Arthur has actually backed away from this, this
Yeah.
encounter. He's just letting you kind of handle the conversation, and he looks at you with his tired eyes and sees this as an opportunity, and it's almost like, what has he got to lose? Things are only going to get worse unless you are able to help.
Well,
All right,
we'll do our
I
best.
can tell you once I have permission from the captain if you're willing to aid in this investigation.
Yes, would it be possible to arrange a meeting with the captain?
It can be done. Yes.
It might be best to talk to him face to face rather than, put you in the, crossfire of if he gets annoyed at the asking of the questions or whatever.
I understand. Yes, I have a list of the individuals who have gone missing, and their abodes as well.
That would definitely be helpful. This one is perhaps less of a personal matter, so perhaps might not need to go speak to higher ups about it. But I know previously around that it was as a punishment there was well, to put it, he just sort of runs the finger along his neck sort of thing rather than saying it out loud, because he doesn't want to disturb the peace.
Sure. Yes, there was.
And I'm just wondering what caused the change, because as far as I'm aware the same people are still in power, so it seems an odd law to suddenly change.
It was actually the church here, the temple. After the last execution, apparently they had a change of heart. They began convincing their citizens that there was potentially a chance of redemption, that the loss of life was unnecessary. People could turn around their lives.
So the church has gained more influences, sort of thing.
Yes. As such, the location, well, we didn't have much of a prison before then, just a few cells. But since no more executions were in place, then we had to
Prison
start
was
locking
needed.
them up somewhere. The church they offered up their crypt, and they converted into a prison, but also supposedly a place of um,
Redemption.
rehabilitation.
Um,
That's it.
I assume that there's some form of like habeas corpus, so like who's gone in, who goes out, sort of thing. Like it's
Sorry,
kept
say that
track of.
again.
I assume there's some form of habeas corpus, which is who's basically keeping track of these people, sort of thing. It's normally used in prisons, like receipts for when a prisoner goes in, receipts for when a prisoner comes out, sort of thing.
Sorry to say, but it's just not as mm, well documented. We don't have as much paperwork as Gaidia.
That's
We don't have a court system or anything. If you're caught, you're caught, and you're chucked in.
interesting. Okay, that's. I mean, whilst I realise the sure there's nothing suspicious there, it still leaves the opportunity for suspicious activity to happen if people aren't properly tracked. That's generally why that's put in place. But okay, if I come back here tomorrow would be able to have arranged a meeting potentially with the captain by then.
I can, or I can even organize it for tonight. It is up to you.
I mean, I'm guessing because I'm going with a guard like yourself, that would allow me past the curfew, I guess.
Yes, indeed it would.
Okay, if that's suitable, would I be able to bring one or two of my companions with me? Just, they might think of questions to ask and such that might not come to my mind.
Roll a persuasion check. There's more of you.
Yes, we're a adventuring party.
Perhaps if there's more of you, then we should come to you and escort you from your premise. Where are you staying? Are you staying at the Parched Dancer?
We're actually.
Oh
Gareth
no.
considers this and is just like,
Oh no.
Are you leading the guards straight to us?
Yeah, I'm just trying to consider how to word this. I'm like,
Don't
Well.
worry, we are definitely aren't criminals.
My
I told you Carius will bring the guards.
Mhm.
Some of my companions are currently looking for a place to stay. We heard that the Acacia Shade might be one viable location, but we've heard they've also been a bit off lately. But I can. I've made friends with a weaver by not a weaver, cloth merchant by the Acacia
Yeah, they're a
Shade.
weaver.
I could meet. We could meet you there,
Mm,
or
it is.
or
If this is not the curfew, we will need to escort you from your home,
yes.
from your house.
Well, what I'll do then.
Otherwise,
What I'll do
otherwise it'll have to
is
be tomorrow.
I will go to the Parched Dancer now and secure some rooms for ourselves if you believe that's a good place for us to stay, and we'll meet you there.
Okay, very well.
Right.
That sounds amenable.
Right. Thank you.
And your name?
Carius Damsir.
Very good. I am Fayad.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. May the sun shine upon you.
Will the sun bathe you?
Yep, that's the one. I'm still getting used to the Fire Genasi greetings.
May your day forever be spicy.
I've been out in the Island Kingdoms for a while, so I only just got back to the Clawed Coast a few months ago. Actually, I'm not even sure if it's been that long. Yeah.
Do not sweat. I will report to my captain.
Thank you.
Anyway, he heads off.
Yeah, so Karis is now going to go to the Parched Dancer and
Okay, sure.
see if he can attempt to secure some rooms, or at least a room.
Harthe, yeah, Harthe sees you heading there and joins you shoulder to shoulder as you're approaching. Very good. You're quite the silver tongue.
It's family specialty, so it's normally more of the women's job, but for some reason I seem to be quite good at it.
Hmm. I see.
The men normally just do the
Well,
magic.
speaking of women, the Page Dancer has some beautiful women. You shall.
Well,
It's not just an inn. Let me tell you.
Yeah, Karis just goes, I suppose that's one way to quench thirst if you're parched.
He heads up to the door as you both kind of like chuckling to yourself, and the security does step in front.
Evening. Actually, good day. It's not evening yet. Afternoon. That's
Well,
the one.
Afternoon, perhaps, but anyways, he looks over you both. Um, looking for a room.
Yeah, so I was looking for a room for 3.
Hmm,
Not as in I'll be paying, but for 3 people, just to clarify.
I see. And I'll be looking after your weapons.
Harris considers this. Okay, that's fair enough. I'd be careful with the scythe. I it's very sharp.
He approaches you and actually um says arms out, and he actually does a pat down as well.
Right,
And
what weapons do I have? I have a scythe, a crossbow, 2 glaives, 2 daggers.
yeah, damn, you're armed to the teeth.
Yeah. Just like, it's actually kind of funny because one of them actually has teeth on it.
Gonna have to find a place to put all this. All
Yeah.
right, I think
Yeah.
that's everything.
Careful with it.
Harthy just
2 of them are
undoes his.
sentimental, one of them is a trophy. The
Harthy undoes
daggers,
his sash
meh.
and hands the man the scimitar, and you head into the Parched Dancer. So as soon as you walk in, the architecture of this building hints at something other than an inn to begin with. You can see is like a large open area. There's pillars, and there's a large like central desk, as well as smaller other desks set around. But they've had multiple chairs put in, set up around the desks, and now they look much more like tables to sort of dine and sit at and drink at. But you can tell that they were like much more formal aligned desks to begin with. Um, in addition to that, you can see there is sort of an aviary as well at the top. You can see where like birds easily can fly in and out of small little holes and pigeonholes. And all along the walls there is these kind of little pigeon boxes. What are they called? Yeah,
Yeah.
pigeon boxes,
Dove
pigeonholes.
coats.
Yeah, and you can see that there are small like letters and envelopes and scrolls in there,
Is this a
all
post
kinds.
office?
It is.
Hmm.
And as you say that, yeah, you hear a man from behind the counter slash bar, because in some of the pigeonholes there are actually drinks, like actual bottles and mixers and such. And you hear a man say, "Oh, that it is! Welcome to the fast answer." And
Okay.
you can see there is a man. He's definitely not native, but he's clearly a well-traveled individual. He's quite tan. He's kind of got silver shot through his hair and his beard. He almost looks like a really tanned sailor. He's got kind of a loose shirt that's like buttoned quite low.
I mean, that's a post office, a bar, and dancing girl.
And an inn,
And
if
an
you're
inn.
looking for rooms.
Yes, I was looking for room for 3 people. I don't know if that'd be
3
separate.
people?
Yep.
Or how many nights?
2 for now, but potentially more depending on how long our stay takes. Actually, you know what? Just for perhaps your assurances and stuff. Let's say 5.
I see. All right. You down for 5. I'm Rothman, by the way. So
I'm
make
curious.
yourselves at home. Welcome. Arthur, good to see you. Are you here to see and Arthur kind of like butts in and says, no, she can uh, go about her own business. We're here for other things. Rothman goes, all right, very well. And you do see that there is some dancers. They're not dancing right now. They seem to be kind of like lounging, sipping from some sort of beverage around the kind of outskirts. And where those 4 kind of pillars are set up, there is like a sort of a dancing circle in the middle, but no one's dancing right now. Even though there isn't, Rothman seems to be keeping up like a cheerful atmosphere anyway. And he says, "All right, 3. I see 2 of you. So your compatriot will be along soon. I take it."
Yeah, they'll be along shortly. They were
Alright.
scouting about the town to see if there was anywhere. Well, they were looking for some goods mostly, but also if there was anywhere else to stay. I suggested here first of all, but they're like, "Nah, let's have a look around." But sometimes you just got to put your foot down with people.
Well, in the meantime, can I offer you folks a drink? Got
Yeah, why
a
not?
homemade special wine here. Homemade special wine.
Yeah. I just realised that one of Karis's weapons would have been carrying the barrels of water still, so it's just like, right, I'll just, he's probably had to drag 2 barrels of water in out of the glaive. Just like,
Yeah, he says that's all right. Just pour it into the bucket over there, up to the line.
all
You
right.
see, that's for
do you-
one. That's
do you-
for one stay.
Do you mind if I do that with magic? I know some people are a bit dodgy with that.
Oh no, not magic. No, yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, Karis just flicks his finger, swishes his tail, and the water fills it to the line, but ever so slightly over the line, like a little tip.
Our dancers use magic.
Yeah, but like when I came in, they checked if our water was magic. I bought something. They checked if the water was magic.
Oh right, yeah, you mean that?
Yeah. I don't know how they do it with a rock, but
Well, they use these, and he pulls out one. He's got one himself, and he flicks it into the bucket from the bar. He's quite a good shot. He's probably very used to this. He flicks it, lands straight plop into the bucket, and he says, "Yeah, well, what happens is it changes color if it's magically summoned water."
I was thinking maybe it changed color to determine like what sort of magic was in it, like different colors for different schools. Though, as just an extra flavor thing, as the stone flips in, and Karis just manipulates the water so like a tongue comes out and like licks its lips as the rock goes in, because he can.
Yeah, they call it what are they? Chrysocolla. It's a type of rock.
Not what I'm familiar with, though could be useful. Does it just work on water, or does it work on other things?
Just water by the looks. They're not magical rocks or anything, but it seems to be reacting to the magic.
Oh, interesting. Like, huh.
It'll go sort of like a darker blue if it's magical. Otherwise, it'll stay its kind of white like color, like chalk.
Interesting. That's clever. Is that a recent
it.
thing?
He says, "No, we've been using that for as long as I can remember." The clerics are the ones who discovered it.
Then again, the last time I came in, it was practically on a stretcher. Got struck by lightning, lost my horn. It was not a good day. Had something stolen off me. Really not a good day. That was a good few years back, though, before I got banished to another continent. I'm back. I'm allowed back now. That was more of a family banishment than an actual legal banishment, but
Sounds like you've been through it, mate. Just pull up a stool and I'll get you a drink for you.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, so he pulls you some of his homemade wine, and you can roll a D100 as you begin to taste it. 80. It is the best wine you ever tasted. Damn, that was literally. I was gonna say there's an 80% chance that this is the best wine you've ever tasted, and you literally rolled an 80. So it is the best wine.
Damn.
Flat out. It's got
Good
that
stuff.
spicy hint to it, but it's also got like that nice flavoursome aftertaste that just makes you want to go back for sip after sip.
Hmm.
You swear he's put something like addictive in there, but it's just because the taste is so damn good.
So, do you brew this yourself, or is it traded in? Pretty
No,
good
I
stuff.
do it myself, homemade. It's
I mean,
it's
I came here looking for trade potentially. So, I mean, would you be interested in like selling this like further out?
oh
Might be able to set up some conversation with my dad. He's head of the Damsir family. You probably heard of them down in
yeah,
Rilo Cove.
absolutely.
Uh,
If you think it's that good, it's
yeah,
got potential.
yeah, definitely. I've been to Weep. I've been to the Island Kingdoms. I've been up and down the Clawed Coast multiple times, and I've not had wine this good. And
All right, so
I've even had beer or alcohol brewed by like the fourth best brewer in the was it Steinhammers?
Steinhammers,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've even had stuff brewed by the Steinhammers, and honestly, it might not be quite there, but it comes damn close.
Oh, thank you. That's my kind. I gotta say, that's my pride and joy. It's
What do you call
been
it?
fermenting here for a while now.
Got a name?
Pride and joy.
That is a damn good name.
All right, so you go back and forth about a little bit of trade deals, about how you
Yeah.
could set him up, yeah, with your family, and Hartley kind of like elbows you a little bit, like, shouldn't we be asking about the mystery of this town
Oh
or
yeah, but
the execution?
yeah, I know,
You
but
were
you've got
making?
to grease the path. You can't just go straight into it. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
I
obviously,
don't want to be greased.
huh?
He said I got to grease the hearth, and he's giving me a look. Like, anyways, all right.
I
He
don't know
said
why that's so
so.
funny. Yeah, whilst of course trade is one of my primary concerns here, obviously as trying to set up potential trade, one of the main problems is going to be that this town seems a bit different to when I was last here, and so I'm trying to find out as much as I can to see if it's suitable to reset up a trade link sort of thing. And
Yeah.
obviously now there's a goods that we would want to like distribute. We now need to, make sure that path's safe. So I'm wondering if you've had any information. Like I've heard, and he lowers his voice. I've heard like the Acacia Shade. I've heard like they've gone a bit weird.
Stay away from the acacia shade, mate.
Really? I'd
Mm-hmm.
heard they'd gone a bit unhospitable, but I didn't realize it was that bad.
Oh yeah, they're not themselves. That's for sure. I like to keep a close eye on competitors, and well, I can tell you now that they've definitely changed their accommodation situation.
Hmm. Interesting.
Whereas we kind of have more like one night stays. He goes one night stand. I mean stays. They kind of seem
It's
to
that kind of place.
they
Why do
seem
I
to be
keep
lodging
turning
more.
up at these?
Whereas they seem to be lodging more permanent lodgers, shall we say?
So people check in, but they don't check out, sort of thing.
Exactly.
And this started happening after they disappeared for a little while, right? And then they came back a bit different.
That's so you've already been clued in.
Yeah.
They did. They went on holiday or something like that. They didn't tell me. They didn't tell anyone. You'd have thought
They
that.
just disappeared, like they were running from something, but then.
I guess why would you let your competitors know? I don't know. Either way, I recognised an increase of customers because they kept asking why the Acacia Shade was shut. That's when I found out, yeah, they'd been gone.
I suppose there's light in every shadow, as it were. If at least it gave you better business.
Once they came back, yeah, they changed their accommodation. Their prices are dirt cheap now. It's hard to compete.
But
I mean, we offer something unique here, but they're offering like half the price for twice the stay. Like, how do you compete with that? Bonkers, mate.
that is a tricky one.
Almost too good to be true, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Alright, well, I'll be heading back later with my compatriot, but I'm gonna try to find them now, and then I might have a few more questions. It might be beneficial for us both. After all, if we can fix whatever problem's happening, then that means potentially more business for you, and then we can set up this trade deal. And yeah,
All right, sounds good, mate.
all right. And with that, Karis will head back, grab his weapons, put the barrels back on the glaive, and then head back to the thing. Probably just in time to see the guards running and just be like,
As you're heading out, you see this one dancer sort of give a little wave like this to Arthur. Arthur kind of rolls his eyes and then quickly catches up to you. So yeah, this is when you see the guards. Not the guard that you saw before, but
other
definitely the
guards.
one who was scorning the child is out on patrol. Like this time, like actually walking with purpose, and he's going around from building to building. And you see, he doesn't even like knock on some of these doors. He just like kicks it open and just enters into the building and looks around, and then heads back out. And as you kind of catch maybe just a glimpse, yeah, you can see that there's possibly no one living in these houses, and they're searching like abandoned houses, maybe for squatters. But it seems a little bit more urgent than that. Anyway,
Seems dodgy, but
they're doing another sweep, I think.
yes, and based on what we've been trying to do, I would not be surprised if it's with one of my, at least. Hopefully not both of them. I'd hope at least one of the groups sent there was sensible enough, but Arius will return.
Roll. Actually, also roll me a perception check, just because you're going through the streets. You're the furthest away, so as you're going through, you can see quite a lot. 17. Okay. It's as this you're passing back through this set of vendors that you see two guards are apprehending Vara, who is the fox-like
They think
humanoid.
she's Kashan.
Oh no!
And she's like, What is going on? Like, I've done nothing. I've just been selling cabbages. Look, okay, one of them or two of them may have been a bit rotten, but that's no reason to be arresting me. What? Where are you taking me?" And they just seem to be dragging her away.
No, Kishan, what have you done?
Wow.
What have I done? What have you fucking done?
Right, okay, that just reinforces my suspicions. Why did I send those two off together? It always goes wrong.
Okay, you head back. You are with the others now, and there is kids in the Wizard Tower. They are playing a game with the backgammon. Actually, two of them have probably been sucked into the board at this point. But and you can see a three-dimensional illusion of basically there's a set of dragons, like illusionary dragons flying in the air. One of the kids is like riding the dragon, and on the flat level there is soldiers on like horseback, and one of the kids is on the back of the horse in like a miniature version. And then the final layer is actually underneath the table. If you looked underneath, you will see an illusionary depiction of creatures of the Underdark, basically doing battling it out. It's dragon chess, and there's 3 layers to dragon chess.
It's another dragon chess board?
Yeah, but this one's like
three-dimensional.
full on three-dimensional and illusionary. The other chess you played with in like Baba Yaga's Dancing Hut, that's not dragon chess.
No, that was
That's
just
something else
chess.
entirely. Mm-hmm.
So,
That was wizard chess.
Kashan,
Yes.
you didn't happen to get caught whilst you were investigating, right?
Well, of course I did.
Well, the fox lady at the market.
Vara, yes.
I think she may have just got arrested thinking that she was you.
What?
Yeah.
That's racist.
This was your stupid plan!
I asked people if they had any objections and you just went with it, so...
I did exactly what you did. I snuck into the house, and I asked the questions, and look, I got stabbed for it.
Wait, he stabbed you? Well...
Yes! Not only with a normal blade out of sheer fear or whatever, but this thing was like lathered in poison. We're way in over our heads.
Wait, other than
But technically
poison.
not. In fact, she was pretty shit, but I managed to disarm her quite easily. However, that's beside the point. They're using poison blades as fucking merchants.
On a positive note, the husband gave me very descriptive directions to the trees that we need to get some wood for him.
Well...
He was a bit angry after our talk, but he did give me good directions.
Well,
I did also stun his wife.
Yeah, well... Kashan, you may have actually stumbled on something a bit more important there. Because I saw I overheard one of the guards. They were looking for poison, so I'm wondering if poison has been a problem. And maybe the reason she was suspicious is perhaps looking for targets. Because there is meant to be kidnaps that are happening.
Well, then in that case, we need to go and get Vara right now. She's innocent.
Well,
Yeah,
it just
need to
so
break her out.
happens I've arranged a meeting with the captain of the guard for tonight. I'm meeting someone at the pub.
You know the captain of the guards?
Well, I'm about to meet them for the first time. I've spoken to this guard. He's going to arrange a meeting so that we can talk to them and try to basically join them in their investigation to some extent.
Can you push that forward? Because Vara's in trouble.
Well, I'm going to be
he's
going
probably
to...
he's going to lower his voice and just kind of like angle directly towards carriers. But remember what Andy said? No trials.
Yeah.
We don't have time.
But also no executions anymore. They just get thrown into the prison.
Okay, I'm just going to point out that obviously it's gone 10. I will have to go in a second.
Yeah.
Irina is literally probably going to sigh very heavily, leave the room for a few minutes, and come back out in like full mage's robes that she's borrowed from Malone.
See? And this...
Right. You lot stay here. Just stay here.
Can I just say that
No.
No, you may not.
we are learning
We're getting better.
in the capital here. There was chaos in 5 minutes. It's been at least a few hours.
To be fair,
Okay.
nobody died.
And nobody died.
Yet.
And to be fair, I haven't done anything to get myself or any of us into trouble myself. Which you executed poorly.
Put it this way. I am the one that has been hunted for and had a bounty, and you are all the ones who keep getting in trouble.
You adopted
So-
children
Yeah.
into this home.
I gave them a place that was safe, where they weren't going to get taken by the guards.
The guards, I
Don't
will
we have
say,
enough children?
I will
Trouble.
say the guards do seem to be trying to search homes as well. They're just kicking open random doors,
Right.
so...
I can give them all a place to stay while we're here if you want to get as many of them as possible.
As you say,
Let's
safe.
not do that for now.
As you say,
Just
safe, Andy.
stay-
There's a breath of illusionary fire that erupt. They're safe.
Alright.
Go on. Sorry, Steph. Go on.
So,
Just
I've
Stay
arranged.
here.
I've arranged to meet them at the Parch Dancer tonight, so I've got rooms there for a week because I didn't want to bring them here. And I have arranged that I can take a couple of companions with me. So I was hoping yourself, Irina, because you're a bit better at this. But I've arranged a meeting with the captain of the guards, and like through legitimate means.
Considering it's the captain of the guard, you're not going.
Oh, definitely not. I will kill him on sight.
You two are not going until we clear this mess up. Until then, you stay here. And keep an eye on them. And she just sort of gestures to the children.
What?
Yeah, the kids at this point burst out of the chessboard as they complete their game, and they're like falling back on their backs, like, "Wow, that was amazing!" As this big explosion of fiery breath from one of the dragons delivers checkmate.
Sean just looks over like, "Do we have to?"
Yes, because Sean used this as preparation for parenthood once Egbert hatches.
Why can't I go with? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't hit anyone.
Yes, but you're also...
No, but the carpenter knows who you are.
And you're not exactly subtle in your appearance.
And you're an idiot.
I only asked him for directions.
You're staying here.
Damn it.
For this time.
This time.
Stay here.
And Andy, I'm making you responsible for the pair of them because I trust you more than them.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm literally going to go up to Lavelle and I'm going to sort of take him by the shoulders and literally push him towards the sand aquarium. Just sit him down. Have fun, okay? And I'm leaving.
What's this? Wait, what is this?
Figure it out.
I would like to investigate.
And I would like to
That'll keep
spend
him out of trouble for a few hours.
I would like to spend the first 5 seconds teaching all the children, or convincing all the children that Lavellan's name is actually Stupid Poo Poo Head.
Easily done.
I mean,
Yeah.
they will probably go with it anyway. They're street kids.
Yeah, or disappointment.
Yes, disappointment. We've got to bring it back.
Do I hear this with my perception?
Probably, yeah.
I polymorph.
Shut up.
Oh my God's sake! You leave.
Right, we're gonna leave. Andy, you're in charge.
Into a goat.
Enjoy. Please try to keep them out of trouble. You're the responsible one of the three of you, which is a terrifying prospect. But yes.
I'm going to just make sure that any doors are locked, basically.
Okay.
Just to make sure that the kids don't go rooms that they shouldn't.
Understood. Yeah, they can't get into the library.
I'll be out.
Also, Harthir, do you want to come with us? I mean, obviously you've got space at the inn, but I don't know if you want to come with us for the meeting.
The gods. No, I shall stay here.
Well, you can stay at the inn. I mean, there's that girl who you
Oh,
seem
yeah.
to like.
I'll
quench your thirst, as it were.
I'll meet you at the Parch Dancer. All right, yeah, he heads off. Okay. All right. I think there is a good place to wrap it up as you head. Where are you storming off to, Irina?
To the
We're
Parch
heading off
Dancer,
to-
because that's where we're
yeah.
meeting the
Okay,
guards.
you're going to the meeting. Cool. All right then. Excellent. Yeah, it's probably later when you do get there anyway, because you've been out talking for a couple of hours. So it's heading towards curfew, and as you're heading back towards there, you see everyone has shut their doors, their windows. The shops have all closed, and you can see just almost like a ghost town. You wouldn't notice. You wouldn't have recognized it during the day.
I also make sure to lock the door behind me with the key
Right.
No.
as I'm leaving. It's more so no one can get in, because obviously if Karis has said that people are kicking down doors, no one's lived here for a while.
Yeah.
Not that I think they could kick down Malone's door. But
True.
Would we have
if the
had...
door's unlocked, people have been walking in willy-nilly all day. Just...
Yeah, before we left, would we have had basically time to like quit? Because obviously we know out of character everything, but in character we would have had time to pretty much just discuss all the information we have before heading off, sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah. You share all that information, so everyone's on the same page in terms of what they've discovered. Okay. But yeah, as you go past all the stores, and they're all like still, clearly set up for business, but it's just no one's around. It's empty. It's eerie, and the guards seem to be out on the wall, surrounding wall, just looking over, spotting and spying everyone. And I guess as they spot the two of you, and Harthir, they do say, "Curfew is soon. Get indoors."
Yeah, we're
Now.
heading. We're going to the Parch Dance, and we're meeting some of your lot there. So yeah,
Yeah, obviously this one's not got word yet, perhaps, but he's got like a crossbow trained on you guys, which is like quite threatening. And Harthir hurries along,
I just
and
sort of
yeah.
raise my eyebrows as I
Karis just
carry
sort
on
of looks
walking.
at them, just like.
Okay. But yeah, that's where we're gonna wrap up tonight, and end it there. Thanks very much for watching. Tune in next week to see if we can get a little deeper into this mystery and uncover what the hell is going on here. Perhaps the captain of the guard who will shed some more light. That same captain, though, however, the same captain who sent the order to effectively execute Andy's father. So we'll see what he's all about next session. Till then, tune in on Monday as well, and sorry, Sunday as well for Baba Yaga's Dancing Hut, and Monday for What Lies Beneath.
Yep.
Hey.
Bye bye.
Yes.
See ya.